Go ahead.
Let me keep my Twitter handle on there. And
What is up, Rowley Town Sports family? Good evening and welcome to the show. We were not just talking about things that were not appropriate. Anyways, good evening. We are rolling into week 15 of the NFL season. Obviously, a lot has changed over these last few weeks, and we will definitely dive into it tonight. Boys, how we doing?
fantastic.
Great.
I'm gonna come. Yeah, doing good, man.
I
Doing
just want
good.
to make I'm back on contacts. No
Massive fake tits. Nice.
Not one of the three were like, "Oh, where's your glasses, Todd?" So first of all, fuck you guys for not caring about me as a person.
I just thought maybe that were blue.
I thought you were just trying to look extra handsome for the holidays.
What do you say without my glasses?
I think contrary to that, I would say you're more handsome.
Yeah, I'm a
You look
Columbus
dumber,
8.
dude. I just didn't want to say anything.
Shit. Dude, that's why.
Like, are we letting this guy drive? Is the first thought that came to my head.
Thank you. The answer is no. I'm not allowed to drive.
Are you even trying to pay attention to
Like,
the show
is he
right
sneaking grilled cheeses into restaurants? Is what I was
wondering. Nice.
No.
Oh shit.
All right, boys. Well, we had some changing in the guard last week. I'm sorry, I'm not going to continue that conversation.
We gotta stop. I love it.
We have to stop. Cannot reference as to why, but we're going to stop that conversation. We're going to talk about last week.
No.
So last week,
I'm just kidding.
Rob, thank you for liking the video. What's up, brother?
Hey, and that's a podcast. Have a good night.
We'll see you guys next week for the before Christmas show. No, but in all seriousness, we had a reasonably tight week last week. Todd took the week at 10-5. So
Good for Todd.
That's all to Todd.
Also, I just want to make a note that I made those picks with a sleeping 2.5-year-old on my shoulder, so I feel pretty good about that. I think
that's the secret. I think you should continue to do that.
Yeah,
I never wear glasses.
Just don't think about your picks. Just go off rip.
Aaron makes a valid point. That was my first pick of the season. No glasses. I win the week. Shit.
Tough look for spectacles this week.
Yeah.
So bad.
Bad take on the glasses.
It turns out the worse you can see, the better you can predict.
Buddy, listen, I've had astigmatism my whole life. Just found out about 2 weeks ago, so I could never wear contacts.
That's why
comfortably.
I have a set of glasses that I just don't wear because I have astigmatism.
Yep.
So,
I won't. Yep. I'm very fortunate. I've had very good eyes my whole life. Hearing,
tiny dick, though.
Anyway,
there's a trade-off.
Prolapsed rectum, 20/20 vision. Whoops.
Y'all are fucking stupid, and I love you.
We're on one tonight.
Anyways, so Todd, 10-5, well done.
Thank you.
Aaron, second place last week at 9-6.
Good up for Aaron, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
And then Corey, our 2 sacks of shit came in at 8-7.
Hey, over 500.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not cutting it. That's not cutting it these days.
I think who's in first?
So I do have news in that regard. Coming in at a tie for third place, me and Todd.
Yeah, give it up for Todd.
129 and 79.
Either pulling Bobby down to the cellar or he himself has crawled out.
Todd, I mean, yeah. So we are 5 games back from the lead. So Todd has definitely crawled out. I'm crawling in. Either way,
Call me Bane, baby.
It's good for one of us and bad for the other. I'll let you decipher which one. Coming in second place at 133 and 75, Mr. Aaron Mailing.
We're coming back. We're clawing.
In first place at 134 and 74, Mr. Corey James, the 2-time champ, with 3 weeks.
So that's you're up 1, right?
Yeah,
he's got a 1-game lead.
Fucking Eagles,
and we are back 5. Todd
just got
the irony there of
this
the ones
week
that
is
I had.
A monumental week, not only just for me because I need to not finish last, but it's also a monumental week for Aaron to see if he can take down the champ.
You guys can do it too.
We
could. It's
Throw some Hail Marys here.
take some massive foresight.
Massive fake tits.
Nice.
Hold on.
Massive fake tits. Nice.
Guys, my mom's watching. Stop.
You naughty boy, you're naughty. That was good.
Got to plug it when we can. So anyways, as far as the chat is concerned, Josh won the week last week, 7-8. Nobody in chat was above 500 last week. Tez went 6-9. Pops went 6-7,
Dogs.
defaulting because he failed to make 2 picks because he fell asleep and we didn't get him. But
The sleepy boy.
at the end of the day, Josh coming in at 90 and 55, Tez at 89 and 56, and Pops at 75 and 54. So moving into week 15, before we get there, as far as last week is concerned, Corey, talk to me about like what is your biggest shock from last week outside of the second Monday night game, Titans Dolphins.
Second, they played at the same time.
We'll call it the second, okay?
Which one was the second though?
Titans Dolphins.
Okay. Outside of that one, let me go back. There's just pandemonium.
So Bears beat the Lions.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not that surprised at that because I talked
not
about
either.
it on this show. Like, I'm not touching that game with a 10-foot pole.
All 7 of us took the Lions.
Also, yeah, because I said if I had the gun to my head, I'm not going to bet on
We'd all
the
be dead.
Bears, but I'm also not going to take the Lions minus 3.5. You know what I mean? Like, I was
Huge gun.
I had to stay away from that one. I guess I would say I mean, the biggest surprise for me has to be the unprecedented fall from maturity that we saw out of quote unquote the best quarterback in all of football.
I'm glad
And
you brought that up.
Just an absolute disgrace in terms of the way he has behaved after that game, immediately after that game, and in the press conference. Travis Kelce as well. Of course, I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes.
Andy Reid as well.
You know, Andy Reid, he was a little bit more like conservative with his comments in that, like, hey, normally this is what happens. None of them were like it shouldn't have been thrown. Like Andy Reid didn't say like that wasn't what happened. Like he didn't say he wasn't offsides. Patrick Mahomes was on the verge of tears on the sideline, acting like a fucking 3-year-old that was told he can't get a candy bar at the checkout line at Meijer. It was disgraceful in terms of Patrick Mahomes. I lost a lot of respect for him. I have always said that he is the number 1 quarterback in the league. I don't think that changes here.
No, that doesn't change anything.
But he demonstrated that he is a millionaire child is what he is. His wife, the same way. I think, taking an Instagram video of the ref and saying MVP, like, shut the fuck up.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I think his wife is having a bigger impact than most of us would like. I think if his wife's out of the picture, he may I think there's a lesser chance that he has the reaction that he had.
I don't really care about like spouses of players.
Yeah,
like they don't like.
But the way that he treated Josh Allen on the field was completely unacceptable. You walk up to Josh Allen and you say, "Hey, great game, dude. You played awesome," and then you walk off and you bitch all you want after.
Sure.
But you give him his flowers because Josh Allen played a fucking great game.
And you know what? And the fucked up thing about it is Patrick Mahomes has ripped Josh Allen's heart out 3 fucking times on that field.
Right.
And Josh Allen has done nothing but walk across the field, look him in the eye, shake his hand, pat him on the shoulders. Good game, man. Played a hell of a game. Like, nice job.
Class act.
And then when the roles are reversed and something doesn't go his way, and we're all on the same page here, that he was offside. Like, it's not even
absolutely.
It's not even fucking close.
He's
So
offsides.
Just for the record, the Steelers got called for the same thing this year, and guess what? It was fucking offsides.
Yeah, it happens. Like it happens.
Yeah, it happened that night.
Furthermore, the flag was thrown before Patrick Mahomes even set in his passing stance to throw the ball. So it's not like it was, we see the result of the play, now let's throw the flag.
The only thing is they should have blown the play dead.
No,
that's not how.
Yeah.
No,
because if they throw a pick 6, the defense gets to decline the penalty. Similarly, as where the defense lines up offsides.
So that's the biggest thing to me is everyone's like, "Well, the play was so cool." It's like that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah,
like and also that play that's the flag is thrown without the knowledge of what the play is going to be. Now, I will agree with the fact that I think refs have just been too much of a storyline this season. This is the worst commercial for that message.
So go ahead and tie Tez's comment into what you're talking about, Aaron.
I didn't lose respect for him because you have to take into consideration the frustration that everyone is having with refs. So, like, okay, I hear you
So just
a little bit.
for
A little bit.
For the Spotify people, Tez is saying, I didn't lose respect for him because you have to take into consideration the frustration that everyone is having with the refs this year. They have been horrible. Now, Draymond, actions like that, I can lose respect for because it's a repeat offense of putting your hands on someone.
So,
Aaron,
Can I say something about
Yeah,
Draymond
go ahead, Bob.
before we move on? If you had respect for Draymond before last night, I have no respect for you.
I love Draymond.
Suspended indefinitely by the NBA. Right.
I love
Good.
Draymond.
He should never play. He should never play
Kick him off
another
the tour, Doug.
minute in the NBA. He is
That's
such a piece of
ridiculous.
shit. He's always
That's
been a piece of
ridiculous.
shit,
Ridiculous.
and he's one of the worst basketball players to
Stop
ever
it.
play.
How
the
is
game.
Stop
how is whoa, Aaron? Before you get it, how is that ridiculous?
Because it's not like he fucking shot someone.
He has a
That's
track
hard.
record of
Somebody in the
being
face,
a
bro.
fucking asshole.
He choked
He
out
punched
Rudy
somebody in the
Gobert.
face.
Yeah, you cannot do these are
How could you defend
What-
his
what did he-
actions right now?
All I'm saying is, what did he do right after he did it?
ran off the court like a bitch because he got
He
caught smacking
apologized
somebody.
immediately.
That doesn't matter.
Okay, so
I mean,
if
I
you punch
mean,
somebody in the
Mahomes-
face and-
Mahomes-
No, it
Mahomes
doesn't.
came out the next-
People that commit crimes apologize after their offense. That
He
doesn't
didn't commit a
affect the-
crime. He didn't
He
commit a crime.
smacked somebody in the
He could go-
mouth, bro.
crime
You
on
cannot play.
basketball court.
That is a fucking crime in basketball. You cannot say no.
It's not a
no, you're wrong,
crime.
dude.
It's a foul. It's a
You're
foul.
wrong. You're
It's-
absolutely wrong.
it's a
Corey.
foul.
No, you're
It's a foul.
It's the
Yeah,
same-
it's
No,
a
I mean,
foul.
he
It's a
deserved to be
flagrant foul, and
ejected.
it's a fucking
Brother,
piece
you're
of
wrong.
shit foul.
You're wrong.
Ejected.
You're wrong.
He deserved to be
You're
ejected.
wrong. You're
Draymond
wrong.
will play basketball
You're
again.
wrong.
I'm sorry.
You're
Of course
100%
he'll
No,
play
he
basketball.
will play basketball again, but should he?
Yeah.
No.
No, okay, so
Yes.
that stretches it too far.
Yes.
That stretches it too far. But in my opinion, like, yeah, you can't consistently show yourself to be that, like to get suspended or I'm sorry, to get ejected that many times. Yeah, track record does matter here.
It does.
And
No
if he's
argument.
23, 24, 25, fine, whatever. This guy's like,
If this
A-
is
a
first
certified
defense, it's one
vet.
thing, but this guy's
Yeah.
pushing like late 30s.
It's-
No
I'm
disagreement
s-
there. The only
I'm
place
just
you
so
lose
sick
me
of
is saying that he should never play basketball again. That's ridiculous.
well, I agree with that, Corey, but I'm
ridiculous.
sick of him in the same way. Like
Should
I'm
be-
sick of James
I'm
Harden.
fine with
though.
I'm fine with an indefinite suspension for him for the time being until you can.
Yeah,
figure out what
it just
you're gonna
won't
do.
be. It won't be like a lifetime ban from the NBA. It's not.
No,
gonna
of
happen.
course
but
not.
It
Of
could,
course
it could
not.
be. It could be a season ban though, based on he's already up to $2 million in fines this
I
year.
think that should be a minimum.
It's pretty great. He's been ejected 3 times already leading up to this. Like you're not gonna catch me trying to defend like the fact of whether or not Draymond is the ultimate heel. He crosses the line habitually, but like going out and saying
He's
like
a habitual line stepper.
he is a habitual line stepper. When I think about people that are banned from leagues, I think about people like Ray Rice. Like Draymond and Ray Rice are not the same fucking person.
Corey, I agree with you. I agree with you that he should not be, ejected from the NBA. But also at the same time, like if I'm a Warriors fan or a Warriors teammate, like I'm so sick of this nonsense.
I
At
don't
the,
want
at
him
the
on
end
my
of the day,
team.
it's whose fucking shoulders this rests on? It's on Steve Kerr. He's the one putting Draymond out there. If you think he's that much of a liability, don't put him on the fucking court.
No, it rests solely on Draymond Green. He's an adult.
No, yes, he's an adult. He makes the decisions. Yes, Draymond needs to take responsibility for those actions. But from what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that Steve Kerr is a reason why Draymond did that. What I'm saying is, like, let the market speak for itself. If Draymond is not, somebody that we can feel comfortable putting out there because we don't know he's more of a liability than an asset, that's on the teams to decide. Let the teams decide whether or not they want to put him out here. He's committed no crime. He's committed flagrant fouls that warrant suspensions. No argument there. But he's not gone out and been a menace to society. Like that's not what we're talking about here. These are different.
No, he
things.
hasn't. I mean, you're talking about on court versus off court, and that's fine.
There is a lot. There is a gray area there, in that like you can commit what would be on the street assault in sports and not be legally prosecuted, right? Like you can do those things. Like Ron Artest. Well, he crossed the line.
No, that Draymond Green, in my opinion, he should not be allowed to play another game in the NBA. He's a piece of shit.
That's too much for me.
It is.
That's fine. Yeah, you can have that
I don't
opinion.
care. Like that's my
Yeah.
opinion, because like Number one, like he's not that talented of an athlete at this point in his career for him to be pulling shit like this. And for him to actually continue to get away with it occasion after occasion is just disrespectful to the brand of basketball that is being played. And if it continues to happen like this, like it's going to happen again. You know, it's the same thing that I talked to you guys about with our chat where we had people in here that were getting disrespectful, and it's going to continue to happen and happen and happen again. The next time it happens, guess what? Because it will, mark my words, it's going to happen again. And guess what? You guys are going to be sitting here saying the same shit. And we should have just got rid of it a long time ago.
I'm fine with escalating the suspension. Yeah. So like what? He got 5. He got 5 earlier in the season.
He shouldn't play the rest of the season, and nobody should fucking pick him up next season.
Yeah.
Just get him out of the game. He's bad for the brand of basketball that's being played right now. And that's where I have a fucking hard ass stance on this. I think you both are incredibly wrong.
Well, I think Adam Silver has defined himself as someone who's not going to allow players or people or instances like this to tarnish what he's trying to do with the
people
NBA
that are bad for the brand.
Yeah. So while I hear your side of banning him from the NBA, but I think the end of your point makes sense to me is that if he gets suspended for the rest of the year and he's a free agent after this year,
who wants him?
Nobody's going to want him anymore. Right. And I think indefinite and banning him from basketball then turns into this shit happened 30 years ago. And while not to this severity, but things like this happened all the time on the floor 30 years ago. And it was like a personal foul.
Yeah. Right? I just don't like the precedent of banishment.
That's right. All. But I think what's happened is that basketball has transitioned away from smash mouth and transitioned more into the finesse game. And that's why there's levels of flagrant fouls now that didn't exist 20 years ago. Yeah. So the players are more protected now than what they were. Right. So I agree. Suspend him for the rest of the year. He's a free agent after this year. Suspend him without pay because he's already basically cut most of his paycheck out this year, boys. By the time fines and stuff are said and done, he's basically cut 2/3 of his paycheck.
If the NBA came out and gave him the same suspension that they gave John Morant last year, I'd be completely fine with that. Banishment, I think is just
so 50 games.
Sure, yeah, like what
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
At a minimum, absolutely.
Both of those are habitual, and I think both of those people are habitual offenders of what they do. Who do you think is worse? Not at
John Morant's is worse.
Yeah. That's
I'm not gonna say
we're not talking about
John Morant isn't worse than what Draymond Green did.
But here's what we're not doing is talking about kicking John Morant out of the league. We're not talking about that.
I think that conversation existed when all this stuff went down.
The problem there though is then you're going to get into the legality of it with the Players Association. Like that's the part we're also not talking about. Like the last banishment I can recall is Donald Sterling. So like I just think we're talking about two different things. Like don't get me wrong, he's a menace out there, and if you want the public market of the NBA to decide that he is no longer eligible to be on a team, that's what dictates it to me.
Yeah.
100%.
I think at some point you have to make an example of a few individuals that take things way over the line.
I think they've already done
just to kind of set boundaries, and
I think they did that with John Morant, and I think they will do it with Draymond Green too.
Yeah,
if you can, because we're a quarter of the way into the season, right? Somewhere around that ballpark, 25 games in. Yeah. So if you give him a 60-game suspension to the end of the year and the Warriors make the playoffs, and then you have to decide then, do you let him play in the playoffs or do you? Yeah. Right. So then you make it the team's decision at that point in time.
You wouldn't be able to, as the league, you would not be able to extend his suspension.
Right. Because it's a regular season suspension.
It would be Steve Kerr making that decision. Exactly. Yeah.
And well, we won't dive in anymore. It's football podcast. We'll probably have.
Well, I would love to point out that we went from the tying of Patrick Mahomes to Draymond Green just makes my heart warm. Like the fact that we so easily
we got after
Draymond Green.
We got after it.
Yeah, we're all hot tonight.
Dude, Patrick, I'll just put
I told you it's gonna be a spicy podcast.
I lost so much fucking disrespect for Patrick Mahomes.
Yes,
dude.
I agree.
That's not a leader on and off the field to act.
He's a crybaby bitch boy. Yeah. That's what he is.
To get back on track here, Bobby, you just said spicy, and we were talking about biggest surprises.
Yeah,
can we talk about the spicy meatball, the MetLife meatball,
the
King of Queens, the marinara monster, the big arm of Parm,
Tommy
Three in a row
Cutlets.
Tommy
for
motherfucking Cutlets.
Tommy.
Dude, that is just such a
Tommy
fun. He's so
Cutlets
fun.
coming in.
It's a great story.
That's
Just a-
that's my biggest surprise.
He's just
That's
a
a great
bottle of
story.
Step 8 and fucking Cool Water cologne, and he
Yeah,
is.
the fucking Giants taking a fucking late one over the Packers on Monday Night Football.
Did you guys see his post game where they're asking him about like, oh, did you see what your family was doing in the stands? They were kissing each other. He's like, oh, that's good. That's good for business.
So two
This
things
dude, he
on,
fucking
two
gets
things
it.
on
He
Monday
gets it.
night. Tommy Cutlets won me $350.
Let's go.
Nice.
Tommy
That's a big
Cutlets.
one. That's big
Yeah,
Dubskis.
so I entered a pool for squares at the beginning of the season for Monday Night Football, and there was like 5 weeks that had rolled over going into Monday night, and my squares hit on Monday night, and I cashed out on Tuesday, which was fantastic.
Massive fake.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. And two, this man is just legendary. Like his agent's just on the field looking like he's straight out of the fucking mafia.
Dude,
And
is Goodfellas NFL edition, and it's so
Yeah,
fun. And
it's
these guys
great.
they're
What a great
soaking up-
storyline.
They're soaking up every moment of their
Sure.
their spotlight right now, and maybe it'll be extended, but maybe it won't. Right? Like odds are it won't.
I
But-
Do you guys remember?
Ride
you guys
the
remember
ride.
Linsanity? You guys
Exactly.
remember
It's
Linsanity
exactly
with
what we're.
Jeremy Lin?
Yeah.
15 minutes
Ride
of fame.
the wave,
It's
dude.
great.
Ride the
It,
wave.
it probably will never peak like this again, but
Enjoy
just
it
like
while it's
with
here.
Jeremy Lin, he stayed in the
Yes.
league for a while.
Worst
Yeah.
case scenario, you end up with a TLC reality series, and you're set for life. Like that's worst case.
Give him a
scenario.
Travis Kelsey style dating show. Let it
At
happen.
this point. Like
Make it a
yeah,
fucking-
worst case scenario.
Yeah. Have
Okay.
him just cook
I'm
a bunch
about
of
it.
various large Italian family.
I'm gonna
meals
keep
and
coming
see
up
who
with
can
the
stick it
Vito
out.
nicknames, but
I love it.
my
Love it.
favorite is the big arm of Parm.
Yeah, that's a
Pretty
good one.
slick. I
That's
like it.
solid. That is
Yeah.
absolutely solid. Todd, you got anything you want to talk about from last week before we move into next?
What the fuck? Who is Zach Wilson, boys?
Yeah.
Who-
Just
who is
like-
this
We've,
guy?
we've gotten like
The
6
MILF
different
hunter.
versions of him, and last week he was just fucking.
This was-
Zach,
this-
Zach
he-
He
Dime.
this
beat
was-
the Eagles, almost beat the Chiefs. Like, and then this last
It's-
week. Now there was a lot of weather in that, and of course CJ Stroud got a concussion.
Yeah, but he threw
But-
for 300 yards.
I agree.
And the bad
In the
weather.
weather.
I think
I
that's
know.
that's even crazier. We're talking about a guy that was that Sunday night on Buffalo. He didn't even hit 100 before he got benched.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And had 4 turnovers. He looked like an entirely different quarterback. And maybe he's in the position now in this year where he's like, fuck it, I'm going to go out there and have fun. I'm going to play my game. And he's not thinking about all the circumstances of the game itself. He's just going out there and playing his game. And I don't know, like just watching the clips of him and watching him be mobile and make these crazy throws.
Yeah.
Like this is what the Jets drafted or what they thought they were drafting
yeah.
3 years ago.
100%.
And it's happened what 5 times in 3 years where he comes out and you're like, holy shit. And people get bought into it.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, he's throwing for $110 and 3 picks.
And here's the
It's
thing:
just crazy.
the biggest thing for me is 8 different pass catchers. But not only that, the main one is the guy, right? Garrett
Yeah.
Wilson, 9 catches, 108 yards, no touchdowns for Garrett, but that it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Yeah, I mean, he's feeding the workhorse. The offense was flowing through him. It was a fantastic performance. What we're seeing out of Zach Wilson right now is like, hey, maybe I'm not a starter, but if you need me in a pinch, I'm there. And
Sure.
and that gets you almost a decade in the NFL,
which would have been great
they're
week
helping-
2.
He'll make a hell of a backup moving forward in his career, but at this point, he's no longer a starter.
I'm not going to over buy into it.
He's
Like-
a backup.
I don't even know that he is.
I mean,
I think he would make a viable backup.
I
Lord
think
knows I'd take him in Pittsburgh.
would you?
Over
Would you?
Trubisky? Absolutely.
I think that's a lateral, if not lateral minute move. I don't think
You
you get
think?
better. I don't think
I
you get
just-
better.
listen.
Have
I
y'all
I-
watched Pittsburgh play with Trubisky?
I have. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's not good, Bob. We,
Yeah, we
But
all
here's the
like it. Sorry, buddy.
yeah, I'm
That's my
enjoy it.
point. That's my
Big
point.
Trubisky
Are
guy.
you taking Zach?
Yeah.
Are you taking Mitch? So if it's your team, it's the Bengals or the Browns.
I'm taking Mitch.
Are you taking Mitch over
Yeah.
Joe Flacco
Because
or
the
Zach
floor is-
Wilson?
The floor is higher in Mitch.
bro. I'm taking Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
No. Oh, if you're
I
giving
know.
me,
I'm joking.
Give me
yeah,
fucking
if you're
Joey
giving me
Flacco.
Flacco, if you're giving me Mitch or Zach Wilson, I'm taking Mitch because the floor is higher. With
Aaron,
Mitch.
I want your opinion on this.
I'm taking Mitch as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Yikes.
I also want you to understand that this is choosing a douche and a turd.
Yeah.
All right,
Douche and a
fair.
turd sandwich.
And I can tell you which one's which. But I think you can figure it out.
I've deduced that from the conversation. So
You've deduced it.
Deuce.
Nice.
deduced it. Thank you.
That's a little.
Yes.
That's a lot of double entendres.
Dude, Bobby
there,
is
boys. I'm in
it's
it.
just been it's the cold snaps. Which, by
So-
the way,
Go
fuck
ahead.
off, Michigan. I searched 3 different distributors of beer today.
I went to 3 different places before I found it. Guess who had
Okay.
it? I know you know who had it.
Crochet,
Dixie Deli.
Walmart.
Kroger.
Todd, I
Minute.
went to Dixie Deli. They did not have it yet.
Is
I
it
talked
Kroger?
to Mr. Maggard. He did not have it.
Did you go to Johnson's?
What is Fairfield known for as far as grocery
Jungle
stores are
Gyms.
concerned? There you go.
Jungle Gyms.
Yeah.
Jungle
Yeah.
Gyms.
That makes sense.
That checks out.
Yeah, so they had the cans of Cold Snap. They also had a 12-pack of bottles that was like 4 different styles of beer, one of which was Cold Snap, because they didn't have Cold Snap in bottles yet.
Yeah. Not
They
a winter
only had it
lager
in
guy.
cans.
Yeah. me
So,
neither. I'll
It
rock an
had
Oktoberfest, but-
Sam Adams has an IPA that I've never
Christmas
tried. It had Cold Snap. It has a blonde and a red ale.
Mm.
In this variety pack that I purchased that I have not tried yet.
Today
So-
I settled. I showed you guys this before the show. I'll show everybody else. Founders Vanilla Porter.
Mm.
Founders is an excellent brewery.
Delicious beverage.
I'm not a big
Digs
fan
it.
of porters, but Founders is excellent. I would give that a shot.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right, you guys ready to roll into week 15?
Yes, Daddy.
Sure.
I also want to state that I am very sad that it's already week 15 in the NFL.
It's flying by, man.
I commented on this last week. Aaron had talked about like where are we on the season? Like how do we feel about football right now?
Well, yeah,
And-
let's talk. Let's dive into that before we get into next week.
Dude,
like,
this
like
is-
where are our thoughts? We're week 15. The AFC is tighter than tight can be.
Had the asshole of a 7-year-old.
I was going to say snare drum, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's a Borat quote, not a Corey James quote. I don't do
Corey James. Attributed.
So I
Todd,
said
you're
this
also
looking
looking very handsome without your glasses today. I
Dude,
will
those,
say.
look at
Thanks.
those eyes, man.
I got
Look at
two.
them.
I got 2 words for you boys where I'm at with football.
Fall
Bricked.
into them.
Bricked up. I'm bricked up for football.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
Corey,
I said
go
it last week. I was like, dude, like, yeah, the product during the season, like, we're just like, oh my God, everyone's dying. Your fantasy roster has AIDS. Like, we know what is going on. Like, it's just not a lot of fun. A lot of people getting hurt. However, the last couple weeks of the season are going to be juicy. Like, we have
Yeah.
so much like congestion in the back end. Nice. Of the wild card scenarios, specifically in the AFC, all the way down to the 11th seed. It's just crazy. There's only one team, nice, that has been eliminated from the AFC, being the Patriots so far, and it's going to be so much fun these last couple of weeks.
Seaside, like the Bears and the Giants are still alive.
There is a
The NFC is more top heavy though, for sure.
there is a scenario in which the Bears make the playoffs and get the number 1 overall pick.
Holy
Well,
shit.
yeah.
I did also want to talk about some stories that I've seen.
Mm.
Is that the Patriots have already had discussions that
Yeah.
Bill Belichick will not be the coach.
He's just
next
thinking about
season.
Kansas City.
I might.
So
Yeah. I
so
don't know.
I have 3 questions for you guys. We obviously all saw this coming. Will he continue to coach? If so, where does he go?
Can I
and
go
if-
first? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
If he goes somewhere else, where does he go? And what do the Patriots do next season without Bill Belichick?
I think I called my shot in week 8, week 9. He's going to the Chargers.
I'm
He's playing for most wins as a coach.
I'm there. I'm there with you.
That team's defense is so bad. It's been so bad. If there's one thing Belichick has been as a good defensive coach, he won't have to worry about, is Mac Jones my quarterback? And I also think the Chargers are going to want an adult in the room. I'm not saying it's going to work, but it does seem like a really good fit.
Here's
so
the
just
question.
head coach or head coach and general manager?
I think I would say just head coach, but I don't know.
So let me ask you this. Is McDaniels his offensive coordinator?
No way.
No.
That would be a nightmare.
I mean,
That's
he
a
only won
nightmare of
like
a
5
coaching
Super
staff.
Bowls with him.
Yeah. And Bell,
Dude, isn't that crazy to think about though? Like it absolutely could happen. It absolutely could happen. Here's another. The only thing that I would say, like, I honestly think Eric Bieniemy is going to get a head coaching job after the season. If it's not
agree with
the
that.
Commanders, I think the Chargers make a lot of sense.
yeah, that was actually a point I
And
wanted
then
to make on the.
What
on
do
the
you
Chiefs,
fire
yeah.
Kellen Moore?
I think.
Yeah, I don't think you have any problem doing that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
with the way the Chiefs' offense is playing this year, and I know Washington's offense has been okay, all things considered, especially when you have
Sam Howell's a
Howell.
top five in
Yeah,
yards.
exactly. I think what the Chiefs are losing with Bieniemy is more evident than what he has necessarily brought to the
agree with that.
Commanders, though. So that has been really interesting because that offense has been hipping and humming for even after the year they lost Tyreek Hill, they were still a top offense. So
Yep.
you know that bolsters his resume in my eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce, thank you for liking the videos, sir. If you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that share button. It's completely free to support. If you're catching this after the fact, we are on Spotify, Apple Music, any place that you can catch podcasts, we are there. Typically up around noon the following afternoon, I should say. But boys, we've got week 15 ahead of us. We've got a Thursday night game tomorrow. Let's go ahead and dive in and get after it.
Yeah.
We've got the Chargers taking things on the road to Vegas to take on a Raiders team that we've had a lot of questions about all season long. So this,
What a barn burner last week.
for those of last week Thursday night game, I just wrote off football for the entire weekend. If I'm being completely honest with you, that was such a terrible game to watch. I was infuriated the entire time. The Steelers just played absolutely. Oh, of course you did. Anybody who was not a Steelers fan loved that outcome last week, and I can't blame you because it was Bill Belichick doing what he
surprising.
does against semi good teams. Can I even say semi good? I don't even know at this point. But yeah, so we got the Chargers on the road versus the Raiders. Todd, give us your thoughts. Who do you have?
Boys, no Justin Herbert for the rest of the season for the Chargers. Also, no Keenan Allen tomorrow night, fellas. No Keenan Allen is not going to be playing. I could very much foresee the Chargers just extending this heel injury that Keenan Allen has as they limp through the remainder of the 2023-24 season. Also, we don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Raiders tomorrow.
Man, I just had to look up the two names of the guys. Never heard of them. Easton Stick and Max Duggan.
You say Easton
Duggan?
Stick?
Duggan is TCU's quarterback from last year in the CFP.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Easton Stick is starting for the Chargers the rest of the season.
His dad is just a big baseball
Easton
fan.
Stick sounds like a knockoff Nintendo 64 controller.
It's just a baseball bat. That
It is. It's a type of aluminum bat. You're right. With that being said, I'm taking the Raiders at home just because I haven't seen a single snap of Easton Stick play football. And I've at least seen Aiden O'Connell and Jimmy Garoppolo and Brian Hoyer, all three play football. And I think Antonio Pierce might be a better coach than Brandon Staley at this point. So I'm taking the Raiders at home.
Okay, Corey.
Yeah, scared money don't make money, so I'm taking the Chargers in this one here. I'm going out on a limb. I think the roster is just better, and I'm just gonna ride with that. Like I think that they're just
about that.
You sure about that? I think there are just more horses in the stables, boys. Sometimes you get that. What have we seen? The first start for a backup quarterback. What have we seen? They've been winning. And so I'm going to ride that trend right now.
Yeah, but at least most of them have targets, though. Quentin Johnson is his top target tomorrow. Oh, I guess technically Austin Eckler.
I was saying Austin Eckler's pretty good at football, and I don't know. I like the Raiders. They don't scare me. I just think that. Yeah, this is a coin flip game, and
not at this point in the season.
I could absolutely extend the lead. I could absolutely give up the lead depending on what Aaron's going to do here. But yeah, give me the Chargers. They're a better organization.
Fair enough, Aaron.
I'm happy to say I will be going against Corey here, but what I will also say, I am not changing my pick in doing so.
Yeah.
I had the Raiders listed in my pick'em prior to coming out. That's usually what I'll do is I'll fill out my pick'em. I maybe will change a game or two depending on maybe somebody swaying me on a point I wasn't thinking about, or just taking a wild, hair up my ass like the Buccaneers last week, which, hey, that worked out. But
Same.
yeah, I mean, I always say like, okay, we'll take the home team. I just think just all around vibes are bad for the Chargers. I think when you lose the quarterback like that and the team already is basically out on the coach, it's hard for me to see, regardless of what quarterback is going to play in this game. They're obviously down some skill position guys. And for the Raiders, that's not necessarily I'm not really giving you any reasons why I think the Raiders are going to win this game outside the fact that they've been playing relatively hard for this interim coach. Give me the Raiders, but God damn, I don't want to watch this.
They got shut out.
Great
last
Thursday
week.
night
wanted
game.
I know they got shut out last week. It was
just
the
wanted to
lowest
put that.
scoring game. That game would have been so much more memorable if it ended in a 0-0 tie than the Vikings actually winning that game, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah. And it's not like it was as time expired. There's like 1:50 left on the clock.
I was going to wait till we get to the Vikings game, but I'm going to just take my little victory lap of when I had to take it across the face for 2 weeks about, I can't believe the Browns let Josh Dobbs go. Yeah, that's why.
You didn't get that here.
No. In general, like everywhere. I'm not saying necessarily you guys, but yeah.
Everywhere
Fair
but
enough.
here. This is home, Aaron.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to side with the majority here. I am also taking the Raiders. Corey, you can be a lone wolf on this one. I have zero confidence in the Chargers to do anything remotely impressive this week. Austin.
Yeah,
Eckler
but
is
like
the
it's not
only
like you're
positive.
getting the
No, you're
Chiefs on the other side. Like this is
Yeah, but the Chargers
They're-
played much worse last week than the Raiders did. So
how they scored points.
Yeah, but what about that defense though?
Yeah, like what the fuck?
So
No,
I mean, to Bobby's point there, I think the Chargers defense is going to make it easier on the Raiders offense than the other way around.
Yeah.
all right.
yeah, that's
I mean,
that's
like,
where
are we like? Let me just ask you this: like, are we shocked if the Chargers win on
No.
tomorrow?
Nope.
no,
Nope.
no.
No, absolutely
All right.
not. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's like I'm gonna like in a game where it's a coin flip. I'm
Take the home
fucking
team.
rolling with the home team.
Yeah, I get it. That
So-
that was my strategy. Yeah, I
I'll
get
be
it.
shocked if I watch more than 2 quarters.
I'll be shocked if I watch 5 minutes.
Well, I'm a degenerate, so I'm
Yeah,
I got to
I'm
a little bit.
gonna watch. We're gonna be texting about it. Shut the fuck up. We're about. Can you
I
believe
know.
that shit?
I
Like, yeah.
know. I'm
Yeah.
trying to talk myself out of it. All right. Let's move on. We got the 1:00 games next.
We
Aaron,
have
I'm
a
gonna go-
Saturday slate, boys. It's back.
Yeah, shout out to the boys. Fantasy playoffs. Make sure you check your rosters Saturday. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that makes the playoffs and forgets they play on Saturday. Don't be that guy.
Absolutely. So Saturday's slate, we have got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, we've got two degenerate
can go.
Bengals fans here in the chat, and on
and
the
the other
panel,
one is
and
beautiful.
then we've got a few in the chat. So, Aaron, I'll let you lead this one off. I'll follow, and then we'll let the Bengals fans close it out.
The Cincinnati Bengals are the arm coming up in the graveyard next to the tombstone right now.
Yeah.
We left them for dead. We put dirt on them, and here we go. Browning has played 2 good games in a row. The Jaguars continually just getting beat down by the AFC North. And then, I mean, the Colts game last week, I mean, I think we were all on the Bengals, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Now, we were a little shocked when we did read off the stats with the Colts in terms of how their offense has been this year. Bengals defense did a pretty good job in that game. So when you take a look at the Vikings here, I'm assuming Jefferson is not playing.
He is playing. He said
He is
gonna
playing.
play.
Okay. Now, that's the one thing for this game that I'm going to be, Corey, if you want to talk about, a quarterback change making a little bit of a spark here.
Yeah.
Nick Mullins is going to be the quarterback here. He's had some success in the NFL. Now, of course, he's not going to have Kyle Shanahan holding his hand during this game, but I think you can do a lot worse than Nick Mullins. So I certainly think, Browning has done a really, really good job. He peppers Chase with targets, right? Like he's just been peppering him with targets, and of course that was
Burrow.
in his first game, yeah, but in what seems like a different way. Burrow is much better at going away from his first read, and I mean that in obviously in a complimentary standpoint. Chase is just an elite guy, where it seems like in years past that we've seen Devontae Adams get like 14 targets, 11 receptions, 120. Go ahead, Bobby.
So we got a couple of predictions in chat. Josh is taking the Bengals. Alex Combs coming in with a bold prediction saying 21-10 Cincinnati.
I dig it.
Aaron, please continue.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo the chat here. I'm gonna take Cincinnati as well. When you look at their schedule from here, Vikings, Steelers, Chiefs, Browns, they're gonna have to go 3-1. Losing this game would be very problematic for Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
I think they kind of keep rocking with it. Who's the backup running back who's been showing up the last 2 weeks?
Chase Brown.
Chase Brown. Yeah, he's certainly shown some flash. So even if Mixon slows down a little bit, or God forbid anything happens to him, I still think they're in a really good spot. And frankly, one of the things we're not talking about, I think, enough, and I'm probably to blame for this as well, because of course I've been on the Myles Garrett bandwagon all year. Of course he's been banged up, but Hendrickson 13.5 sacks, man. I mean, he's playing really, really well. So I'll stick with the Bengals staying hot here. They are going to have to play some perfect football to the end of the year to make the playoffs. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but let's roll with the hot hand, man. Browning's looking good.
Yeah, Aaron, not going to fade you here. It's been pretty impressive to see what Jake Browning's been able to accomplish over the last couple of weeks. And watching his game, it's not just that he's coming in and managing the game. He's making tight throws. He's doing things in critical situations that a lot of backup quarterbacks for other teams, which granted we've seen a ton of backup quarterback play this season. I think I saw a stat where over 58 different quarterbacks have started a football game this season. And for those of you not keeping score, there's only 32 teams in the NFL. So we've seen a lot of backup quarterback play this year. And Jake Browning arguably has been the best backup quarterback in the NFL this year from a stat comparison. So albeit he's 2 games in, he's balling out. And you guys have A.J. McCarron as the third string there in Cincinnati, and you don't even need him right now because Jake Browning's come in and done such a nice job filling in for Joe. Yeah, I mean, give me the Bengals here over the Vikings. I mean, although the Vikings have the best receiver in the league and Jay Jettis, it's one of those things where I'll take a complete offense with the second best receiver in the league versus the first best receiver in the league with a shit quarterback. And in a dual threat from the running back position was the Vikings do not have, and Cincinnati's defense has stepped over the last couple weeks. I got the Bengals here. So Corey, Todd, whoever wants to take it away.
I can go. I echo everything you've said about Jake Browning. I mean, he's like the only quarterback to in his first 3 starts have like 75% completion percentage and shit like that. Like it's like stuff that you just haven't seen out of a guy in his first career starts. Over the last 2 weeks, he is the best quarterback in the NFL statistically, which is insane to say. The thing that I've been most impressed with is not just Jake Browning, though. It's kind of been the resurgence of the Bengals defense, in that we were looking at 2 running backs over the last couple of weeks in a Zach Moss, in a Travis Etienne, that had been productive, to say the least. Obviously, Travis Etienne was averaging almost 100 yards a carry. The Bengals held him to under 70. Zach Moss was doing when he was carrying the ball really well.
No, you said carries. I know you meant game, but you said 100 yards a carry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. 100 yards per game. Yeah, thank you.
You're just
and Zach Moss also very productive. Bengals, I believe, held him to somewhere around 50 yards on Sunday. So
yeah,
the fact that they've been able to produce that kind of run defense over the last couple of weeks is nothing short of remarkable. And DJ Reader is a huge part of that. Yeah. And I think when you're facing an offense such as Minnesota, that doesn't necessarily have that run game, that can make things a little bit easier on the passing defense. And not a bad time to get Cam Taylor-Britt back off the injury report here. Coming back, he's going to be playing. No, he's on injury reserve, isn't he, Todd?
Yeah, he's on IR,
I'm
buddy.
sorry, I
he
fucked
ain't
up.
coming back.
We got
Awuzie and DJ Turner.
I looked at the injury report today. I was like, holy shit. But no, not as I'm saying that. Anyway.
I also want to make a quick comment on Alex's comment because
we know you. We know
as soon as he said that, I was like, dude, I know exactly who you are.
I knew who it was before he said that.
I was like, man, the name's familiar, but like I know who he is,
also,
but I can't picture him.
Then
he said Lunchbox, and I was like, dude, sold. Like I remember
Lunchbox,
exactly
I've been
who you
seeing
are.
you on Facebook coaching some Pee Wee Fairfield football, buddy. That's awesome. As
Can I say something real fast?
Yeah.
This is one of my fucking favorite things about doing this. Shit like this happening, where someone that we haven't spoken to, interacted with in over a decade rolls in. It's cool shit, dude.
Pretty cool.
It's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I also make one more comment about the Bengals before you guys
go
Corey,
your dissertation?
Oh.
I think the most this kind of twofold is not only the pass protection that has been adjusted to fit Jake Browning's game, but the coaching that has taken place in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that shows a level of not only maturity, but just perception of the game and playing to your abilities, your strengths.
Even, yeah.
And I think that's something that's really been lost this year in the NFL is scheming to make sure that your guys can be successful regardless of what they're good at.
Well, there's one guy in the league that gets a ton of credit for that, and he resides out in Silicon Valley. And I think he deserves a lot of that credit. But yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head here, Bob. Like, Zach Taylor deserves a ton of credit. He takes all of the blame when things don't go right, and he deserved a lot of blame for 2 fucking wide receiver passes on Monday Night Football. But outside of that, man, he's been coaching almost perfect football games. And if there wasn't a guy up on Lake Erie who has his team ready to go to the playoffs on his 4th string quarterback, I'd say Zach Taylor deserves to be nominated for Coach of the Year. If the Bengals get into the playoffs at this point. But so the pass defense is going to get a little help in that they don't necessarily have to commit to stop the run as much. Now, we thought that going against Houston, and Houston ran all over them. So hopefully the Bengals learn a little bit about that, still make an effort to stop the run. Bobby?
Tez, I don't think you've missed anything yet. We've talked Chargers, Raiders, and Vikings, Bengals. I think Bengals is the only one you have not picked yet. Which we've got the Vikings on the road in Cincinnati. I know you're working. Stay safe out there, brother. We love you.
So, love you, Tez. We've seen a lot of. I like DJ Turner is legit, guys. Like we can go ahead and say that he's a legit player in this league. The Bengals feel good moving forward with the 2 corners that they've got in Turner and CTB when he comes off IR. Obviously, Chidobe, a free agent acquisition that we got from Dallas. That contract's going to run out. Probably not going to re-up that. So the Bengals feel good about that. Also, looking back into the safety room at this point with a Jordan Battle and a Dax Hill, we feel really good about that
Not
too.
too shabby.
These guys are getting some playing time that is really good. So looking ahead, you're playing on house money when it comes to the secondary right now for the Bengals. So feeling really good there. And a good time to do it, especially if Jay Jets is going to be coming back. The thing that I'm going to say to watch out for is this could be a comeback to earth game for Jake Browning a little bit. He's going to need Joe Mixon. He's going to need Chase Brown. The Vikings defense is one of the best defenses in the league right now, which is insane to say that they were the 30th ranked defense last season. And they did not have a massive turnover in terms of personnel. Brian Flores is going to be a head coach next year, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Prepare yourselves. He's going to be a head coach again. And he should be. And he should have never been fired.
He should never, That's I think that's first and foremost. Like he's way more talented than where he's at.
That said, I think what the Bengals offensive line, Bobby, you alluded to this, what they've demonstrated in being able to produce a running game and keep Jake Browning upright. I think the 2 go hand in hand. 0 sacks against one of the best pass rushing defenses last week, and the Colts, phenomenal. If the Bengals can lean on the run and establish that play action from under center that they've been able to do over the last couple of weeks, I think they can continue this train rolling against, unfortunately, just inferior roster in the Minnesota Vikings and the Bengals get 3 in a row, I'm taking Cincinnati.
Todd.
Yeah, so I think highlights from the offense last week, screenplay was the best it's been really probably since week 12 of last year when Jamar Chase came off of IR.
That was one of the only other games I watched last week was the Bengals, just because of
Yeah.
how much it impacted the Steelers. And God, it was just really sad to see them rolling with a backup quarterback when we just can't get shit done.
Look, it's pretty cool to watch a running back run faster than a school zone. I think that's a pretty neat thing to see happen. I do. Legitimately.
What a great quote.
No, I just put that into perspective. He ran a little bit over 22 miles an hour. A school zone's 20. Think about
he ran
driving
the second fastest time clock this season behind DK Metcalf, who we all know is a
Tyreek,
fucking
right?
freak.
Yeah.
He was
faster than Tyreek.
Faster than Tyreek, but slower than DK.
Yeah.
Wow.
Second fastest
Kid's
stretch
got wheels,
speed.
man.
Yeah,
Playing
it's insane.
great.
And Brian Callahan said, I didn't even know he could do that. Nobody knew he could do that.
Yes,
That's never. Yeah, well, that's the point, right? Yeah.
Oh, you drafted him.
But yeah, so I think Corey alluded to a good point about the turnaround in Minnesota's defense. I think a lot of people wrote off Minnesota defensively going into this season too because of not really addressing any true need. But just a coaching change can make a big impact there.
Absolutely,
and it clearly did. So I think Brian Flores is a good enough coach to plan to take away the low-hanging fruit for Jake Browning. So I think Corey's point is valid that while everyone is really overly hyped up about what Jake Browning is doing, I think things are going to slow down just a little bit. I'm not saying that he's going to turn around and have just a nightmare game, but I think things are going to be back to like a normal pace. But I think what he's done the most to impress me, fellas, is that he's just taken what's available. And I think a lot of times guys get into the league and they want to make these really big impact plays right away. And they want to do, they want the ESPN highlight reel right away. And Jake Browning has been around football, specifically the NFL, and around a great quarterback in Joe Burrow long enough to just take what's available. That's Joe Burrow's got over $250 million contract by just taking what's available most of the time and just going through your reads. So I fully anticipate that he's able to do that again. I do want to make a point that I think that anyone that's listening now or later should take what Trey Hendrickson has done in his NFL career and put it up next to TJ Watt's career in the NFL and just come back next week and tell me what you think. Because I think you'll be surprised at what those stats look like next to each other.
Dude's a dog, man. He's just a fucking monster.
It is one of the most undervalued edge rushers in the NFL, and I don't understand why.
Because he plays in Cincinnati, Todd. That's why.
So
That's why.
I do want to kind of like talk about that. And it's like I think Corey hit the nail on the head. It's because he's in Cincinnati. Anybody who watches football knows that Trey Hendrickson is a fucking dog. No questions asked. Like
with one
when you look at the pass blocking win rate or whatever it is, he's actually higher than TJ Watt. And TJ Watt is lower on the scale of getting double teamed than Trey is. TJ actually has one of the lower in the league. And I will admit that as a Steelers fan. TJ doesn't get doubled as often and doesn't win as often. But TJ, dude, like we see you twice a year.
We know what TJ is. We know what
he is. We see him twice a year, dude. He's terrifying. He's the one guy. He's the one guy. Him and BJ Hill are the two guys that I watch when we're playing, and I'm just like terrified.
To Todd's comment, like the rest of the league doesn't recognize him. I don't know. Like I think teams like offensive line coaches absolutely
people that play football recognize TJ.
You know what I mean? Fandom does not the general football fan does not recognize.
Now does the national media say, hey, like Trey is a beast? No.
Like, I mean, that was one of my points for this is I don't think we're talking about him enough.
Yeah. I mean, Trey's one of the best edge rushers in the league, and I don't think anybody who watches football can deny it.
That's why you got to extend it.
And if somebody's denying it, they don't watch enough film.
That's why you got a handsome contract from New Orleans too to Cincinnati. People are like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, for sure.
Just because you go to Florida Atlantic doesn't mean that you can't play.
Here's an interesting point.
At least on this program.
Here's an interesting point about that. When the Bengals signed Trey Hendrickson, a lot of people were like, "Ooh, bad deal, you overspent. He was getting a lot of his opportunities because Cam Jordan's there. Have we talked the fuck about Cam Jordan at all in the last 3 years? Not really.
We're not going to sit here and deny Cam Jordan's talent.
I'm not. But I'm saying
how much of that was tied into Trey Hendrickson?
And that's a big reach, right?
How much of that is also tied into how, like, if there's any team that we can mention that is the most cap strong in the league.
Oh yeah, it is the New Orleans Saints.
I mean,
yeah.
You can't pay
like the
Trey
last
Hendrickson.
3 years,
You got to give that money to Taysom, dude.
Yeah, you got to.
Or he can do it all. He can do it all. Put his hand on the ground.
Well, let's. Well, obviously, this show pays a lot of respect to the AFC North. So let's switch to another member of the AFC North, and that is my Pittsburgh Steelers. They are taking on the Indianapolis Colts this week.
Are we missing a Saturday game though, or do you want to go right to?
I don't think so. I thought there was only one.
Detroit, Denver.
There's three.
Am I wrong?
Yeah,
oh shit,
3.
I am very wrong. Well, yes, Steelers Colts is a Saturday game.
Yeah, it's a Saturday afternoon.
So you've got
it's 4:30, 8:15.
I'm sorry.
Let me do what I'm doing here. I've got this shit right. We got the Vikings Bengals at 1. We got the Steelers Colts at 4:30. We got the Broncos Lions coming up next.
Worst fucking call I've ever seen in my life, dude. Let's move on.
Hey,
I'm sorry. I am sorry. I was wrong.
Let's act like I've fucking been here before, Aaron.
I was wrong. Okay.
I love you. All right, so we got the Pittsburgh Steelers headed to Indy to take on the Colts 4:30 on Saturday afternoon. I just wanted to make sure that I preface.
Early evening,
I'll wear the dunce cap. I'll go first.
Please do.
I will.
The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. I don't see the Steelers being able to keep up on offense with the Colts.
I have the Colts.
I have the Colts here. I could see the defense allowing Pittsburgh to score more or move the ball more effectively than we've seen. Pittsburgh's, strength is going to be able to come in being able to run the ball in this game if they can. So if a defensive touchdown or defensive plays can happen early where they can kind of sit on the ball for the first half, maybe they have a shot in this game. But I think we've seen the best of Pittsburgh, and I don't think it's going to really get much better. I'm going to take the Colts.
Todd.
Yeah, I think if Pittsburgh does want to win this game, they need to take just a quick 15-minute YouTube clip of the game against the Bengals Sunday and just chip away at that Colts defense. That's really kind of how Cincinnati took care of business, was just chipping away at that defense. That is a pass rush heavy defense, and it was a lot of just short ball game, quick in, quick out. But here's the thing, boys. If I'm taking quarterback to quarterback play, I'm taking Gardner Minshew over Mitch Trubisky.
For sure.
Sentence to say.
Fucking weird. It's like 6 years ago, that was a normal sentence.
Yeah. It's good. Somehow the over under in this game is greater than the Vikings Bengals game. I don't really follow that.
I think that's going to be a slugfest, man. It's going to be a defensive slugfest. But go on, sorry.
Yeah,
that over under was hit in the first half.
Oh, for Pittsburgh, New England.
Pittsburgh, New England, yeah.
Yeah. But that was also,
That's I'm kind of
made Bailey Zappi look pretty good.
He made that motherfucker look like Peyton Manning.
I think that this is the first time I think I can remember since 2003 that I've seen some chinks in the armor that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really?
Yeah.
Even last year when we thought that things were balancing. Yeah. They still were right there in the playoff mix. They started 2 years ago. They started 10-0, 11-0. This is the first time where we're actually seeing some chinks in the armor and some decision making go in the opposite direction or things not falling into their favor. Whereas 3 weeks ago, we were like, this is the fucking Vikings all over again from last year. Everything's falling into their favor.
Yeah, it did feel like that.
And now the dynamic has completely shifted in the opposite direction. And you're even, and Bobby, I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings, but even Ben Roethlisberger is questioning
the
Oh,
future
by
of
this
this
time.
franchise.
Yeah.
When it came to me, that's something I was going to bring.
I mean, you were mentioning the chinks in the armor.
Let's let Bobby talk about that then.
Yeah.
Sorry, Aaron.
No,
Sorry.
go ahead.
No, I mean, so you guys go ahead and make your picks, and I'll go on my soapbox.
I'm taking the Colts.
Sorry, Aaron. Go ahead. Sorry, buddy.
No, he wants us to make our picks, but I was just curious because I mean, Todd had mentioned the chinks in the armor. I think this is the first time I've heard out of Pittsburgh a legitimate. When do we hold Tomlin accountable for what we're seeing on the field?
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
Corey, make your pick, and Bobby, I'd just love for you to touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, the things for me as to like what I'm looking at when I see the Steelers, and it is honestly like not to like steal any thunder here, Bob, but like a lot of
you're good.
my opinion here
I
is
rip.
derived as like one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played for the Steelers and what he had said in Ben Roethlisberger. Like you're seeing guys, and not even just Ben, Minka Fitzpatrick is saying it too in the locker room.
Yep.
Like you've got guys not doing their job. Like for instance, you watch Chase Brown take a screen pass 60 yards down the field. Who's down there driving corners out of the way? T. Higgins. You look out on a run play. What's Deontay Johnson doing? Giving up on a block. Just not like half-assing it.
His body language is
It's bad. It's
awful.
bad.
It's bad. It's bad. And that is not.
Make your pick, Corey.
All right. I'll let you get. I'll let you get to it. I'm taking the Colts here. I think Tomlin is a guy that has produced his entire career and deserves a ton of respect for that. He's undoubtedly going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
It is at this point though that I have seen him become too close to the locker room and not able to hold teams accountable. He is out of touch at this point with his players and is not able to hold them to the standard that is Pittsburgh Steelers football. And it's gotten beyond that.
So yeah, like I stated earlier, I also have the Colts. It's one of those things where it's tough. You know, you guys, being Bengals fans, being Browns fans, this is not a slight in any way, shape, or form, but you guys haven't seen a lot of success over the years. Until recently.
Statistical
Yep.
fact,
And
not a
and
slight.
it is something
Welcome
that
to my world, bitch.
that being a Steelers fan, you are accustomed to, for the most part, except for those first few years where we had Cordell Stewart and Tommy Maddox, and it was kind of rough for a little bit. And then 2006, we got a ring. And then, in 2009, we got a ring. And, until those years, the last success that we had seen was the 70s. And, there was this culture that was instilled by Bill Cowher where we're going to be the meanest team in football. And that 2010 defense is the reason that we have the rules that we have today, for defensive players as far as launching and fucking people up. The Steelers defense is the complete reason that we have the player safety initiative in today's game. There's no questions about it.
I would argue to say their slot receiver is also a part of that.
Yeah, Hines Ward absolutely destroyed people.
Mhm.
And he's one of the biggest nemesis in Cincinnati of all time, if not the biggest.
AFC.
But yeah, Todd, to allude to your comments, it was when I saw Ben come out and say the things that he said, it was one of those things that just kind of hurt, but it was true. It was like, hey, we've lost that edge. We've lost what Pittsburgh Steelers football is all about. To wrap around also to what Corey said. And it's one of those sad transitions where it's like, so we figured out the issue. Obviously Minka Fitzpatrick, this guy played basically the second half of a football game with a broken hand and went out there and gave it everything he had. You have Deontay Johnson, this fucking pussy of a receiver who's not even going to block for his teammate because he thought the play was dead and then ended up letting, basically almost a touchdown go all the way back. What do we do from here? Like, the locker room's gone at this point. We have so many question marks at the quarterback position, and there's not really a plan. There's no plan in place for how we move forward from where we are currently at. And it's not the fact that we've got issues in the locker room. It's the fact that we don't have a plan to get from point A to point B at this point. That's the biggest issue that we have here. And you guys are right. Mike Tomlin is a first ballot Hall of Fame coach, no questions. I don't think any of us could argue that he hasn't had a losing season.
No.
Up
no
until
question.
this point, and he still may not have a losing
Still
season.
a playoff team.
I was going to
Depending on
say,
how-
like, can we sidebar first? Like, we're talking about this team like they're dead. The season ends today. They're not even the worst wild card team.
They're not.
Yeah,
They're
I know.
not.
Like, we're
But
acting
as
like this is
far
some,
as-
like that's the thing to me from
I
a
think-
body language thing doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't.
But-
It's
but
so
I think,
weird.
I think what
it's
we're
such an
talking
enigma.
about is just an expectation, a tradition.
I don't know that I think like we've been watching the ways they've won as well, and just been like,
And it's gross.
I don't buy it. Is right.
Yeah.
It's
That
like,
what 11-0 season? We were all like, I mean,
we're like,
yeah, but we suck.
don't buy it. And then the Browns beat them in the first round of the playoffs that year, right? That was
Yeah.
the Browns playoff win. Yeah. So
There was a really
Here-
janky stat that came out where it was like Mike Tomlin's been their head coach for 17 years, and he's only won a playoff game in 4 of those years, but they forgot to mention that he took them to 2 Super Bowls. Like,
yeah.
so
yeah.
yes, he's only won a playoff game in 4 of the seasons that he's coached them, but he took them to 2 Super Bowls, which is more than most teams have been to.
Got some
Yeah.
vibes
No,
as well.
that's-
So like
Yeah.
you have to like take those
Like-
stats with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
But-
definitely. I think what it's going to take is it's one of two things. You blow it up, which is long, ugly, painful. The rebuild process is not fun. The good thing is the NFL's built for you to do it. It's not the NBA. It's
Easiest one
not.
to do it in.
Yeah, it's not the MLB. It's the easiest one to rebuild. It just is. Unless you're stupid like
I just don't think we're that far
Panthers.
away.
But here's the thing: is when your backbone is your defense, but you're making Bailey Zappi look like Peyton Manning, as you said. When your other backbone is your head coach, and you don't necessarily believe that he can control this locker room or lead this locker room, that's concerning. When the two biggest parts of your team and the team's history over the last 2 decades have been the defense and the head coach, and those two things aren't things that you necessarily think you can rely on right now, that's concerning. So what's going to take is 1, blow it up, like I just mentioned, or 2, for Kenny Pickett to become what he was drafted to be and a franchise quarterback. Those are the only 2 options at this point.
So
That's it. That's the only 2 things that can happen. There's no success in going out and getting a free agent quarterback. It doesn't work.
And winning 8 games.
So
It doesn't work.
I want to address Tez's comment. He says the Steelers are 7-6 at the end of the
100%.
day.
Yep.
And based off everyone outside of the organization and the fans, they weren't even supposed to be where they're at right now.
Yeah.
Tomlin has a proven skill set over and over again, and now people are questioning him because of this year.
Mm.
Let the Steelers let him go and see how many teams will come calling. And Tez, I completely agree. I think Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in the NFL still at this point, even with where they're at currently. But I think that he is a little misguided this season on what he will and will not allow. And I don't think anybody can question that because of how long he let Matt Canada do what Matt Canada did. If you are a quality coach in the NFL and you have 4 years of production that is just lower than the NFL standard, not even just like your best teams in the NFL, lower than the NFL average, and that he let go for 4 fucking seasons. Like, you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, we need to do something differently. And the common denominator was Matt Canada. If he would have let Matt Canada go earlier in the season, we would be looking at a completely different football team right now, but he let him go
Yeah.
in almost the second half of the season. And at that point, it's so hard to make changes and instill those changes throughout the rest of the season that it's going to make a larger impact than what should have actually happened.
Isn't
Aaron, you
Matt
wanna-
Canada
go
the
ahead.
the first coordinator he's ever let go in his 17
Yes,
years though in the
he's
middle of the
he's
season?
the
Like
first-
Mike Tomlin
he's
has
the
always been
first-
like let's
He's the
not
first
change
coach
who
that
Mike
he's let
Tomlin
go
is,
in the
though.
middle of a season in the history of his career.
He's also always been the guy that's like, I'm going to give my running back 26 touches a game. This is the first year I've ever seen him even get away from that. Like allowing Warren and Najee to kind of split
this
carries.
this is a season for first, but
he's a 17-year-old coach. It's like, I'm sorry, but we kind of need to talk about it in the same vein of Belichick where it's like, I think he's playing a different brand of football. And I think it's fair to say that.
Aaron, and I almost compare it to like, he's like the owner of a small company at this point, to where he feels he can't hold people accountable because if he does, they're going to want to leave. They're going to want to go somewhere else, and he needs them. He feels that he needs them to be successful. Whereas he's not the owner of a small company. He's the head coach for the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers, second all time in Super Bowl championships. You're not that. You are the standard that you should be holding people accountable for. And it's not happening. That's my biggest
problem. Is the standard is the standard. Well, if the standard is the fucking standard, Mike, then we need to fucking live up to it.
It's not happening.
We haven't seen that in 3 years since Big Ben left.
And also to take it again, let's take a giant step back.
Yes.
We're talking about a coach. We're talking about a coach who has never had.
I love Mike Tomlin. I don't want Mike Tomlin to leave. I want to preface it with that. I think Mike Tomlin needs to stay the coach, but I think he needs to have I think he needs to change his perspective on what the standard is so we can get back to Pittsburgh Steelers football.
We're talking about a coach who has never had a losing season in a season he's having a winning record.
Also, we're talking about a coach that has done something that has never happened in football history, which is a team a team with a winning record has lost twice to teams that are at least 8 games below 500.
Yep.
That has never happened before.
Yeah, I mean, it depending on how the rest of the season goes, he could set records. Like, and that's great, But like, I don't, as a fan, like, of this prestigious franchise, I don't want to set records based off of bullshit. Like, I want to succeed. I want to win Super Bowls. We're in the playoffs. We're going to win Super Bowls. We're going to win playoff games. Like,
Super Bowls are the only goal, and anybody that talks to you about anything else just isn't playing the same game.
Yeah.
It's not. Like, the only goal is to win a Super Bowl. That's it.
I agree. I agree with that, Corey. But I also believe in stepping stones. Like for the Texans this year.
Yes.
If we can make it to the playoffs this year, that's
100%.
Yeah. No, there's stepping stones for certain teams, but for the Steelers, it's
not for the Steelers. It's an entirely different. See, here's the thing: is that he's looking at it from. It's the same. I'm a Kentucky basketball fan. I feel the same fucking way about Kentucky basketball. Right?
You don't win a national championship, it's a failure.
I've only lived in a culture as a Kentucky basketball fan in a winning culture. You guys probably don't remember this, but when Billy Gillispie was there, it was a fucking nightmare for Kentucky basketball. Corey remembers because Florida beat him eight times in 4 years. But it was a nightmare. Right. And people were after his head. And this was a dude that took Kansas State to the Elite Eight 2 years in a row and lost scholarships before that. Right. So we're like, oh, we're getting this great coach in and he'll be a perfect replacement for Tubby Smith, blah, blah, blah. But when you are established in fandom in a winning culture and that doesn't happen and you see the bricks starting to fall off the building, Bobby's reaction is exactly what it should be. When you're acclimated to winning and the winning was not great, or the way the winning now is not great, it doesn't feel good. So I get it. I completely understand it. When you live in a world of success and then the success becomes like
you nitpick.
Like
you nitpick to the smallest minute detail.
Yeah, and talking about not winning, the Detroit Pistons have lost 21 games in a row.
I saw that stat where it's like the Spurs, the Pistons, and I can't remember the other team, but they're like 1 in like 67.
The Pistons are the worst, the most poorly managed professional franchise right now.
Terrible, dude. All right, let's move on.
Biggest nepotism in sports.
They'd kill to have Mike Tomlin.
Biggest nepotism in sports. Look it up. If you guys get an opportunity, look at the family ties to what goes on in the Pistons front office. It's mostly just family members of the GM and the owner.
All right, boys, we're an hour in.
And we're not even through the Saturday
games. We're only through 3 games, so we need to step our shit up.
Yeah, we got to hum.
Thank you for everybody putting up with our AFC North bullshit.
Still got one more team, too.
Bobby, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for Bobby. Hey, let's give it up for Bobby.
That's important. That's important.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I know that more often than not, I kind of defer to you guys. You know, when we come to this show, I like to facilitate more than I like to speak, just because I feel like you guys have the greater wealth of knowledge when it comes to all this. So I appreciate y'all giving me the floor.
You're John Stockton. I won't do you that.
Talking about the cap, bud.
Yeah, if we're talking about the cap, I'm deferring to Aaron 10 days out of 10. It doesn't matter what sport, even if it's cricket in India.
Well, they play
All
quick
right.
rules over there.
All right, well, let's
Yeah,
move
well,
to the
it's
Saturday
different
night
'cause-
game. We've got the wicked hot Denver Broncos
nice,
such a good game.
headed
dude.
into Detroit to take on the Lions, who have lost a few bad ones recently. We'll let our correspondent in Detroit take this away. Corey.
Yeah, live here from Detroit-ish. Corey James speaking. Dude, this is such an interesting football game that we're gonna get here. Something needs to happen in Detroit. Here's what we're facing. We're facing Jared Goff playing bad football, and we're facing the Detroit Lions defense giving up a lot of fucking points.
Yep.
In Denver,
Yeah,
is Russell Wilson a candidate for comeback player of the year at this point?
absolutely.
He has to be. He has to be.
He has to be considered, right?
If you're not sitting here arguing for it, I don't
He's
know
at
what you're
least in the
doing.
top 3. Like, obviously, DeMar Hamlin is one of those.
I was saying, unless they're
candidates.
just going to give it to him, but he has no.
Like,
You can't give it to the.
He hasn't even
free
played.
snaps.
Yeah. So but
He also beat death, though.
yeah, he did. Yeah, he looked the Grim Reaper in the eye and spat in his face. And it's like, not today.
But no,
But-
on a purely football standpoint, you're right.
Yeah, and so here's the good news in Detroit, and I think Lions fans need a little bit of this right now. You're still in first place in the division. You're the
Yep.
3rd overall seed in the NFC. Those are good things. You played really good at the beginning of the season to get you to this point. It's not something that Lions fans have been able to say for a minute. So let's just take some solace in that. The other good things is we have seen Jared Goff play good football this year. We've
Mhm.
seen Jared Goff play great football. Tez, if you're still watching, I just want to let you know Baker's been better as of late. Just throwing that out there. Jared Goff has been bad, though. 10 touchdowns, 13 turnovers. Ain't a winning recipe, boys and girls. It ain't.
Was that
that's
the
not
last, like 5 games?
That's
Since
not a
week 7.
that's not a 3-to-1
week 7,
ratio,
yeah,
is it, Aaron? It's not
What's
a
that?
3-to-1. It's not a 3-to-1 ratio, is
No,
it,
it's
Aaron?
not. elite,
It's
though.
not. We'll get to him in a little bit. It's or maybe not in a little bit at this rate. But you've seen Jared Goff play good football, so that's good. And in the backstretch of the last 5 games last season, the Detroit Lions played really good defense. They were starting to come together as a team. So you've seen it. You've seen it happen. Unfortunately, at this point, I think it's wrong team, wrong time. Now, my rooting interests say that I want Detroit to win, and I'll absolutely be rooting for Detroit to win. But in this pick'em forum that we are in,
He's taking the Broncos, baby.
let's ride.
Aaron, who you got?
I'm echoing a lot of what Corey's going to say there. I'm also rooting for the Lions in this game, especially when you look at how crowded the AFC picture is. And, hey, hats off to the Broncos, man, for turning their season around. And I agree with you. And I wasn't even really thinking about it from the comeback player of the year yet. That's not really an award I really think about week to week. But, in terms of what we saw out of Russell Wilson last year and what we're seeing him out of this year, it really has been night and day. Now, he certainly isn't Seattle Russell Wilson anymore, but we're seeing this, not to compare it to like Peyton Manning and in Denver, but like that last year, you're like, all right, he's still doing it. Like he still has the brain. It's just, I don't think he still has the physical gifts that he had at the beginning of his career. One of the things that made Russell Wilson so, top echelon quarterback was his elite running ability. And you'll see it every now and then. 3rd and 7, he's going to rush it out. He's going to get that first down, but he really does want to stick in that pocket and play ball. And I kind of do respect that. One of the things I wanted to point out here from a stats perspective, Corey, read what was the stats you just gave me for Jared Goff? 10 and how many?
I think
turnovers?
it's week 7. It was 10 touchdowns, 13 turnovers.
The Denver Broncos lead the league in turnovers this year at 24.
And
They
takeaways?
Takeaways. Yeah. Not differential, which is 18. They're still sitting at 6 though. 11 interceptions, 13 fumbles. I think they have something ungodly like 11, 12 turnovers over the last like 4 weeks. They are turning over the ball at an elite rate.
They're taking away the ball.
Taking away the ball at an elite rate right now with a guy that is allergic to holding on to the football. Like you just said, Corey, I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. Bad opponent, bad time.
Ty, what you got?
Boys, I think this is gonna be my game. I'm gonna choose to do a little.
And not a bad one to do it. I think the Lions are favored.
They are. It's 3, a flat 3. So I hear you. I hear you.
From a betting perspective, I love Broncos +3.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this game as this is kind of what I would consider to be the back 9 for Detroit for the rest of this season, right? Are you gonna fucking double bogey it, or are you gonna slap a little par out there, right? Yeah. I think this is a par game for them. I think if Jared Goff is going to have the opportunity to flip the switch, it's going to be set at prime time at home in the evening.
You're rowdy.
Ford Field's going to be fucking nuts because they're hungry for just not just a win, but just an exclamation point of
statement win. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that this is the game where Detroit provides that to the fan base. My concern is that this is going to be like a blow your wad game for Detroit too. They're going to go out and drop 42 points, and then they got to go play Minnesota. Yeah, they got to go play Minnesota 2 times in 3 weeks after this, and they're going to blow their wad in the NFC North. And it's going to change everything in the NFC playoff picture.
I like that. I'm not going to go back on my pick, but that actually makes a ton of sense to me in terms of this is a kitchen sink game for Detroit. And again, I just think it's a terrible opponent from a defensive standpoint for the Lions because of the way they've turned the ball over. But yeah, no, Todd, that's an excellent point.
And an interesting perspective. You talked about playing the Vikings twice in 3 weeks here. Looking at the NFC playoff structure right now, like the Falcons are going to play either the Eagles or Cowboys. Like that's almost a determinative factor. Like we know that whoever wins the NFC South is going to play the first wild card, which at this point will be the Cowboys or the Eagles. It's like we know that playoff.
Yeah, pretty much set in stone.
Yeah. So then at that point, you look at who's going to fall into that number 2 slot. Right now, that number 2 wildcard team is the Minnesota Vikings. So we could see Detroit, Minnesota face off 3 times in 4 weeks, which would be crazy.
Great poll, Corey. Great poll.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think that it's kind of where Detroit lands for me right now is this is a get right game, and it's gonna be a show, and then you limp through the rest of the year. And then Corey, it's a perfect point. I think you end up playing Minnesota in the wild card or, in that wild card game in the first round. And it's not, I work with a massive Lions fan, Detroit native. And I was talking to him about this last week, kind of going into the Bears game. And he said, we're going to end up playing the fucking Vikings in the playoffs at home and we're going to lose. And it's
what's crazy? Talking to Lions fans, you know which team they don't want to face? It's not the Vikings.
The Packers?
Yeah, because they've ripped their hearts out so many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Detroit's basically had the wind knocked out of them since Thanksgiving. And to Todd's point, are they going to draw breath finally?
Yeah, I think that, but I think it's a one time you come up for air and then you're back underwater. I feel like
and you can even argue the week prior with, we should have taken the Bears last week on a flyer because of what we saw in that week prior, and that's hindsight being 2020. But Bobby, who you got in this one? Oh, sorry, Corey, go ahead.
I was just going to say, comment on Bobby's pour, Rob. When you pour a beer like that, you release the carbonation. This is a note from John Taffer, King of Bar Rescue. That carbonation ends up in your glass, not in your belly, buddy. That's what you want here. Beer drinkers.
So you're going to let this settle.
Yeah.
And then once it settles, I'm going to be able to drink this without having the bloat, and it's going to be amazing.
That Guinness looks a little light there.
John Taffer.
So this is not a Guinness. This is a Samuel Adams
Guinness. You let sit.
Did you call it a Samwell?
Yes.
Samwell.
Yes. This is my favorite. This is my favorite beer of all time.
I get it.
For those of you that watch the show, I love
beer.
Sam Adams Cold Snap. It's just something I've been hooked on since college, and
Since I was 4.
I remember the first experience of cold snap. As a matter of fact,
Yeah, it was in the basement at
it
Pops.
was quite a special treat.
Yes, it is a delicious treat. So Todd, I just want to get caught up before I get into my pick. Todd, Aaron, Broncos, Lions. Who you got?
Me
Todd's
and
got the
Corey are on the
Lions.
Broncos.
Yeah.
Todd's on the Lions.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm actually gonna ride the hot hand here, and I'm gonna roll with Todd.
Fuck.
I know you're not excited to hear that.
Todd hears hot hand and he's like, "Oh, obviously I'm alone."
Yeah.
Dude, that was beautiful.
Dude, my ears were just, that's my wolf noise, if you boys remember from a
It's
couple
like,
weeks ago.
it's like
So,
Arlo when you say you want to go for a walk.
I want to preface that with I rolled with the Lions, I think, the last 5 weeks, and I
How's
think
that
they've
work?
maybe won one game. Like at this point, I'm also riding Corey's prophecy of fade the streak.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
We're fading the L's at this point.
No,
Like,
that's a good.
At
That's
some
a good. Hey,
point,
fade the
Jared
streak
Goff
works,
has
man.
to turn it around. That offense is way too talented. The Broncos defense has a lot of liabilities on it. Granted, Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, they're doing some great things. I just feel like the Lions have to turn it around at some point. In a non-divisional opponent like the Broncos, who are vulnerable, I think this is a week that you can do that.
Yeah. Short week for the Broncos.
Yeah, very short week for
Going
the
on the
Broncos.
road.
Not a lot of time to prepare. I think the Lions actually have a shot this week, and that's the reason that I am rolling with them.
Hope you're right.
We are pretty much split between panel and chat.
I think rooting interest wise, we're all rooting for the Lions.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah,
rooting for the
100%.
Lions
100%.
this week. So I figured might as well at this point. So, and Aaron, I did want to defer to you. I think we're done with the Saturday games at this point.
Yes.
Let me check. we
We're
might
a
finish
quarter-
this pod by the Thursday night game.
We're a quarter of the way through the schedule.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive into another AFC North matchup while talking about another NFC North team. We've got the Chicago Bears headed to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Todd, I'll let you lead this one off.
He just pieced out.
Corey,
I'll
I'll
let
let you
Corey.
follow. I will follow Corey, and then Aaron, we will give you the floor for however long you'd
Thank
like.
you.
So I'll go ahead and take this since Todd dipped.
Todd was just
now.
like, I'm out.
Yeah, he's like,
See,
I'm out.
bitches.
This is an interesting game for me here, just because of the way the Bears have kind of been playing over the last couple of weeks in terms of their offensive production. Like Justin Fields is like, hey, I'm going to actually move the football down the field and we're gonna win. And that's been interesting. The Lions Lions defense is kind of that Mario mushroom, as Aaron has indicated a couple of times in terms of offensive production. I think the Cleveland defense is the red turtle shell. This is going to be a much different game.
What an analogy.
Yeah, this is going to be this is a reference to Aaron's Christmas tree. Follow us on Twitter. This is going to be a much different game for Justin Fields. I don't think Denzel Ward being back, Myles Garrett, he's on the mend, but I think we're fully getting Myles at this point, right? Like shoulder's good.
Yeah, I mean, he's still getting double teamed to hell. He went last game without technically getting a sack, but he
Aaron,
got a
hold
sack
your
on the
tongue.
2-point
You'll
conversion.
have your moment.
I brought him in.
Chill, Bob.
So I think I'm gonna go just go with the better team rather than kind of fall to the victim of recency bias here. And I think the Browns are a playoff team. I said that at the beginning of the season, and I'm gonna continue to do it. Joe Flacco. I mean, is there anything better than watching Ravens fans just fucking squirm watching their white knight just fucking play for the other team at this point? It's just so funny.
It's
watching
cool.
amazing.
It's it's great. Joe, 38 years old, out there throwing dimes like you're either getting a beautiful
Feeling like
ball,
he's 10 years old again.
a touchdown, or just a blatant interception. And as of late, it's been really good football out of Joe Flacco right now. How many PI calls has he been getting, Aaron? You've been noticing any
He
of
hasn't
that?
gotten any, but boy, is he not afraid to throw it downfield.
Yeah, and that's
Oh,
something that
we're
the Browns
due. We're
haven't
due
had.
for a Joe Flacco
Yeah.
special.
You're going to get a nice PI call, I think, in this game, but I do think that the Bears offense regresses a little bit this week, and that allows the Browns to squeak out. What's the spread on this one?
2.5.
Is it 3.5?
I think it was 3. If it's
Cleveland
moved.
-3.
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, Cleveland -3.
Cleveland -3. I take Cleveland -3. This game ends with Joe Flacco taking a knee.
Wow. Bold statement. Todd.
Yeah, sorry, I had to make a quick TT there. I heard
Yeah, you got a
call my
tinky
name.
winky.
Yeah, I heard you call
It's
my
okay.
name, and I was like, oh no, I already. Had
Oh,
my dick.
no.
I've already committed.
Yeah, I already have my dick out.
The dick's out, dude. Dick's in my hand. Sorry.
I'm here. I'm home by myself, so.
You just
what
wet in a
happened?
bucket?
What happened?
Todd, I'm married. We love you.
Tom doesn't have pants on.
Call me Donald Duck, boys, because I ain't got no pants on. Yeah, but I did get the opportunity
Winnie
to
the
listen.
Pooh.
But I did get the opportunity to listen to what Corey said, and I number one respect the Mario analogy. That was a very solid all the way through from beginning to end.
Appreciate it.
I would love to say that all of the injuries that the Browns have faced is going to cause adversity, but I can't say it anymore because they've won through all of these injuries.
Yeah.
My only concern that I have with Cleveland going into this game is that the Bears have had a top 10 run defense all year. And I think the way that Joe Flacco gets to cook and kind of do the Flacco ball is to run to set up play action. That's where I think the success comes in. But I just don't think Chicago's that good of a football team. I can't sit here and look roster to roster and say, oh, I think the Bears are going to take this one. I think the Browns, even through injury, have the better roster when you look at this matchup. And although Justin Fields played exceptionally well against Detroit last week, even a banged up Cleveland secondary is better than what Detroit secondary looks like. And the Browns are still going to get to Justin Fields, or they could force him to stay in the pocket and make decisions where Justin Fields is not great at that. So I'm taking the Browns here, boys. And we're talking about another home game here for the Browns, right? Or are they on the road?
Yeah. No,
another home game. Dog Pound's going to be fucking.
Yeah. Fucking DJ.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to fade you guys here. Myles Garrett has really been the biggest question mark for this team over the last few weeks.
I think it's Denzel Ward.
Well, he hasn't played.
That's what I mean. Like,
I mean, as far as players that have been eligible to play, I think Myles Garrett's.
What are you going to get out of him? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Denzel Ward, I think it's kind of like hand in hand where you seen like with the Cowboys where they have Micah Parsons and then you have Trayvon Diggs, where it's like you have that 1-2 punch. You have the guy, the edge rusher, that defensive lineman, and then you have that beast in the secondary where it's like you've got that 1-2 combo where it's like you can shut down any side of the field anytime you'd like. And I think it's the same thing in Cleveland where you've got Myles Garrett and then obviously him. And it's one of those things where I want to see Myles Garrett fucking eat this week. He needs to be healthy.
Probably
and
will.
From last week and what we saw then, I think we're going to see a lot more of him this week. Yeah. And he's going to get back to those conversations of like, okay, is this guy defensive player of the year type deal?
Sure.
Which obviously all of us know that he is a candidate for at this point.
Yeah.
And just based off of, not stats alone, but the eye test. The eye test for me is the biggest thing. And Myles Garrett, when he's on the field 100% healthy, he has been, in my opinion, the most dominant player on the field when he's there. No questions. And it's scary for us that are in the same division as him because we see him twice a year, but at the end of the day, you can't deny his greatness. Myles Garrett has come in and he's done exactly what everybody thought he was going to do, and that's dominate. And if he's healthy, Justin Fields doesn't stand a chance.
No. I think
Miles it just is what it is.
4 sacks, and it was Justin Fields' first career start.
Yeah. And, I've heard rumors of the Steelers trying to pursue Justin Fields in the offseason and making changes, and I'm not even ready to acknowledge those types of arguments at this point.
Please.
Be interesting, though.
It would be interesting to see a mobile quarterback in Pittsburgh because that's not something we really ever seen. But at the end of the day, I'm taking the Browns over the Bears at home in the dog pound. Corey, I know you have questions. Aaron, I will let you.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Defer the conversation from this point.
I just real quick, I wanted to just make a comment on somebody that I don't think we're talking about enough in terms of you talk about overcoming things throughout the NFL season as teams and stuff like that, but obviously players have a lot to overcome. David Njoku became Harvey Dent this season, and he is still.
Man, did he have a good ass game last week?
Yeah.
I think that like deserves, like, talk about giving flowers. Like, this dude had his face and most of his arms burnt off in a freak accident.
Yeah, he finally was like David Njoku is the fucking Kyle Pitts of the NFL at this point.
I think his production has been really good over the last 3 years. Like,
can you imagine if like him and Kyle Pitts actually had a quarterback?
Yes. No, he's gotten better every single year. He's been a huge part of their offense actually over the last 2 seasons. And but my point is more so that, like, David Njoku went through a traumatic event, like, as a human being, and to still get out there and just like, fuck it, I'm a ball, and he just does it still. Like, that's like props to him and his family.
And that's not even going to be one of the IR slots I mentioned.
Yeah.
And like, that's still an event that took place this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like, and I agree with you completely. I want to touch on what Bobby's talking about with Myles Garrett real quick. I like, listen, I get it. You're talking about the eye test. Like, Myles Garrett passes the eye test every single week. On one arm, he is still superhuman, and it doesn't show up in the stats in the same way that I think it should. And it's kind of, I think, sometimes the fault of sacks being the end all be all for defensive player of the year. So when you're doubled like that, I think the stat that showed up most in that game, and in the same way that it did in the Cincinnati game for the Jaguars, Travis Etienne, 14 carries, 35 yards. That's what happens when you have to double team Myles Garrett off the line of scrimmage. Somebody is going to be there to be able to make that tackle in space. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who has played phenomenally this year. I cannot tell you enough how lights out this guy.
You're worried about him his rookie year.
Yeah, a little bit, because he's an undersized linebacker, but like, he also
thought of him more
so
of like a
far
monster back, right?
What's that?
We thought of him more of like an Earl Thomas.
Yeah, like he might be like a box safety.
Yeah.
And he really is, you know, when we drafted him, we were like, okay, this is the medicine for Lamar Jackson. Let's have a linebacker who can equal his space, you know, laterally. And he's really turned into somebody who really comes over top of that defensive line and makes those tackles in space with running backs. You've seen it with the corners as well. Listen, I gotta mention this before we get into anything. Actually, before I do, I was live at the game this past week for Browns Jaguars. Had some absolutely phenomenal seats.
About that. How was that?
Shout out Chris, dude. I like that stadium is insane, man. Like, it is. I'm wearing long johns, thermal top, hoodie, jersey, hat, gloves, and everyone is loud as fuck. Everyone, like, the one thing I give Browns credit for, like, we know when to take a pee break. We know when to, like nobody misses shit. Like, we time it up like running trains.
It's calculated.
And like, it was calculated. That I was in the lower bowl, which is, you know, some of the better seats I've been able to get. And it was, dude, it was just such a fantastic experience. For the Browns, though, I mean, it just seems like you've all seen, I don't know whether you want to look at like the Simpsons meme or just take Tommy Boy or any kind of like The Factory, 0 days without incident. We have to put up the 0 days without player going on IR, like in Berea. It's insane right now. Just to run through it real quick, guys. We're down QB1. We're down RB1. Amari Cooper has missed significant time. We are down left tackle 1, right tackle 1. We are on tackles 4, 5, and 6. Joel Bitonio, an all-pro who has never missed a snap in his career, has missed significant time this year. Pochik, our center, has been down. We're not sure if he's going to be able to play this week. Obviously, Denzel Ward has missed significant time. Okamura is now on IR. Delpit is now on IR. That's safety 1. Your rotational defensive end. You're down Hurst now. That's defensive tackle 2. You play 2 of them. Juan Thornhill has missed significant time. It is insane to me the amount of guys who have gone down this year. And Corey, you had mentioned it earlier. If it wasn't for what Stefanski is doing in Cleveland right now, we're on QB4, guys. We're on QB4. And we have a 1-game advantage on any single team in the wild card. It's insane to me what this team is doing. And I give so much credit to Stefanski for this. And Todd, I heard you talking about it in terms of the run game for this. Like, this is an entirely different offense now with Flacco. And yes, you obviously need the run game to be effective. Kareem Hunt's been banged up. Ford is questionable for this game. Are we going to get Denzel Ward? And like, it's just like, it's a rotational piece of, I don't know who's going to show up. It's basically like the Will Smith meme where he's hanging out in the living room and gets Kevin Stefanski in the locker room. Like, I don't know who's playing, but I know I'm going to have them ready. And I'm very appreciative to actually have a head coach this year. And I'll call myself out. There have been times where I've said, Stefanski, I'm not sure. I would extend this. Like, he to me is like Harbaugh for Baltimore. And I think he's going to be in Cleveland for a very long time. I think that's bad news for the AFC North, because if he can extract this amount of play out of the talent that he's got, I mean, we have 11 players right now on IR. We have 25% of our cap on IR. And a lot of people go, well, that's a lot of that's Deshaun. Deshaun's cap was fucking dick this year. We keep punting that down the field. So that was my rant. So if I can talk about this game real quick, I think the Browns play just an entirely different brand of football at home. I think the crowd is going to be loud, proud, and in this. I think the Bears defense has shown up this year, especially since the Montez Sweat trade. When you're playing LT or Bears. Yeah, when you're playing tackle 4 and 5, that's gonna be a factor. But let's talk about Joe Flacco for a second, boys. He is throwing tight spirals, and you know what? I think one of the biggest things with Joe Flacco is we've seen him play with the Broncos. We've seen him play with the Jets. He's not, I think he might be even due for a stinker. This could be the game. I don't know. And there will be one. I hope it's not in the playoffs if we're lucky enough to get that far. But we've put ourselves in a position to play for that right now. I think Joe Flacco, because he had to start this season on the couch, is playing with a different fire of realizing that this can be gone at any time and any moment. And I think you're seeing between him and Kevin Stefanski, he finally has a quarterback. And I don't mean this as a knock on Deshaun, but somebody who has seen it, been there, done it. I mean, this is like when I was like, we need to trade for Kirk Cousins. I was saying that at the beginning of the year. You guys remember that? And It wasn't so much because I thought Kirk Cousins is a phenomenal quarterback, but it's because I want somebody who can come in, play smart, do the right things, run the offense. And you're kind of getting like Walmart version of that right now out of Joe Flacco. He's going to turn the ball over. That's going to happen. But the way that he pushes the ball downfield is just something I haven't seen out of a Browns quarterback since, frankly, Derek Anderson. And even that was kind of a flash in the pan. And certainly this could be too. I'm taking the Browns in this game. I think one of the biggest things, I think this will be the elixir for Myles Garrett in this game, because he is a half step slow, which makes him a top defensive end in the league still. And Justin Fields loves to hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
I'll take the Browns in this one. Thank you for allowing me to just kind of vent on it. But
Aaron, I think we've all had a nice vent session about our respective teams in the AFC North this evening.
One comment I'll make is Aaron has compared this Browns defense to who?
The 05 Ravens.
Who's the quarterback?
Trent Dilfer.
I thought he was 02.
Was 05 wasn't Flacco, was it?
No.
No, he won the Super Bowl against
12.
Kaepernick.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. I hear you.
That
I hear
defense was pretty good too.
That defense was still pretty good.
Basically, the 2000 to the 2010 Ravens defense was pretty fucking scary.
And Todd, you had asked too, like, hey, where is this game? It's really hard for me to bet against the Browns at home right now.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to preface my next few statements with a few facts. We are an hour and 45 minutes deep. We have selected 5 games.
Doesn't matter.
So I know it doesn't matter.
2 weeks,
but let's try to speed this up just a dick hair.
All right.
For those that are listening.
Don't do Green Bay next then.
Well, we're actually going to move on to an NFC matchup that is complete dog shit.
Thank God.
That shouldn't take too much of our time. We've got the Atlanta Falcons taking things on the road to Carolina. Corey, I will try you. Who do you have?
I'm taking the Falcons. Yeah, the Panthers are just this is fucking awful. The Falcons are going to win this division. They've got the best quarterback play, which is scary to say, out of Desmond Ridder in this entire division at this point, outside of Baker Mayfield, I would say. No, I think Baker's probably playing better at this point than Desmond Ridder is, but the team in Atlanta, I think, is better than what we're seeing out of Tampa. So we'll get to Tampa in a little bit. I got a little comment about Baker when we get to them.
Sure.
Atlanta's defense is going to absolutely eat alive Bryce Young and this Carolina Panthers team. Give me the Falcons. Panthers continue to lose.
Todd.
Bryce Young, 3 picks. Give me the Falcons.
Oh,
3 picks.
Wow. Don't bet it. Don't bet it.
Start him in my fantasy leagues. I like that call.
I picked up the Falcons defense in both leagues I'm in the playoff in, specifically because of Bryce Young's demise. I'm in a buy in a league as well.
Corey's like, I have a huge wiener. I'm on a buy, and I'm great at fantasy football.
12-2, baby.
Yes.
Aaron.
For the sake of time, I will echo all of the points. I'm going to take the Falcons here.
Yeah. I see no reason to disagree at this point in time. So
Panthers suck. Falcons fine.
Yeah. Panthers are hot garbage. Let's move on.
Beautiful sentiments.
Falcons are cold garbage in a bad division.
Boys, we got the New York Football Giants.
The big arm of Parm?
We got the New York Football Giants taking things on the road to New Orleans to take on Derek Carr and the Saints. Aaron, Giants on the road, New Orleans. Who you got?
Boy, it's a long way from mom's home cooking.
Yeah, it is.
Indeed.
You want to compare French food to Italian food?
Cajun, not French. Come on.
Well, I mean, New Orleans. Come on, really?
No,
you want to split hairs here?
French roots.
All right. So, anyways, I think DeVito turns into a pumpkin this week. It's been fun. It's been cool to see the agent dressed up like
3 wins in a row. Are we fade the streak?
Hell yeah. If you're going to fade a streak, this is the one to fade.
Yep.
Taysom Hill is going to be back, is what it looks like for the Saints. And honestly, underrated fact for the Saints because the quarterback sucks. The running back's good, but it's like you kind of need him to make this offense even make sense. And I trust that the defense will be able to keep the Giants at bay.
Fair enough. Todd.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to watch Tommy DeVito do his thing. But if you're gonna play any, we talked about the Saints being in salary cap hell. It's because there's so many veterans on this defense, and a rookie quarterback doesn't stand a chance in a veteran laden defense, especially after all the publicity he's gotten. Thanks, thank you. I just think that it's been really fun. It's exciting to watch somebody who every year we get 1 or 2 people in the NFL that pop off that we don't think, and we've gotten Puka and DeVito this year. Yeah. And I think that those are 2 really cool names that maybe one of the 2 of them stands after this year, but
well, East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah, something like that.
Furthest West Coast.
Yeah. I just think that this DeVito's done. DeVito's done after this Monday night performance. Wells run dry.
All right,
Mom's
fair
sauce
enough.
is gone. Mommy
Mom sauce doesn't
dead.
travel.
Corey.
Corey knows that.
No, you know what? It's interesting. I don't necessarily know that I'm taking the Saints, but I don't know that like DeVito's done. I think what has happened at this point is like Brian Daboll is just going to be like, yeah, I'm not just giving the job to somebody next year. Like it's up for grabs. Go earn it. And DeVito has a great shot to be the starting quarterback for the Giants moving forward over the next couple of weeks. But I'm taking the
God,
Saints
that's
as well.
so crazy when they paid a quarterback 40 or 94.
But they're
million
out of that
dollars.
contract after this year, basically.
Yeah, it's not bad.
They are.
Yeah, I'll defer
Cap's
to,
not real.
to the cap specialist here, Mr. Aaron Mailing. So
It's not real.
yeah, I mean, I see no reason to fade you guys here. I would love everything in my being to fade you guys on the Giants versus the Saints, but I just, as much as I love the story, I can't dive into it. I can't get encapsulated in the story that is Tommy DeVito, although it is a fantastic narrative. I can't sit here and dive into it when there's shit on the line.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna sit here and be a victim of the Italian stallion that is Tommy Cutlets. So we're gonna hedge our bets here and take the Saints at
Funny
home
how?
and
Like,
beat the
haha,
Giants.
funny?
Nice. Solid.
We got Josh with the Saints, Tez with the Saints. We'll see what the rest of the chat tends to defer to. Typically, when we all make the same move, it goes the other way. So
I'd love it for it to go the other way.
yeah,
No one loses any ground, and we get good content.
No one loses any
Yeah.
ground, and we're all happy that we still have.
This is the perfect. This is the perfect game for this to go the other way.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh my god, you fucking see Tommy DeVito. Yeah, it's perfect.
Awesome.
If the Giants win, I will eat a giant Parmesan sandwich while we're.
Oh, dude, you
Chicken
don't have
parm.
to fucking
I will eat
threaten
a
me with a
chicken
good
parm
time.
dinner.
Me too.
I'm not gonna take my shirt off or something stupid.
Twist my arm.
Yeah, you don't have to threaten me with a good time, bro. I am there. You said
I'll put it on mute,
Parmesan
though.
and sandwich. I'm there. So, all right.
And yeah, I think we can all commit to that, right? Oh no, I don't want to eat a chicken parm sandwich.
No,
That
I don't
seems
want to
like
eat
a
a
nightmare.
parm sandwich.
The Jags.
I make low stakes sound like high stakes.
All right, boys. Moving on. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road, coming off a close win against a divisional opponent in the Falcons, taking on the Green Bay Packers, coming off of a very, very close L Monday night against Mr. Tommy DeVito. So leading this one off, Mr. Corey James, Buccaneers on the road in Green Bay. Who you got?
So before I get to Green Bay, let me talk about Baker Mayfield for a second. And I'm actually going to talk about I should have brought this up at the beginning of the podcast, but I'm glad I didn't at this point, at the moment that we've ranted for how long we have.
We're only 2 hours in, and we still have like half
Baker
the
Mayfield.
show left.
Baker Mayfield had a better record in Cleveland than Justin Herbert has currently in Los Angeles.
Yikes!
Wow. Facts. Spit them.
Just want to talk a little bit about that. Baker Mayfield was run out of town in Cleveland. Deservedly so, because of the way the trajectory that it had gone. But no one's talking about that in the way that we're talking about Justin Herbert, because it's just look at the arm talent. We can see all those things. So I think Baker has absolutely solidified himself as a starting quarterback in this league. That's all I'm going to say. He is one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Bobby,
you're moderating. What are you raising your hand for?
Can we talk to Aaron about how much he's been on Justin Herbert's wiener since we've started this show?
Yeah, we can. I still think Justin Herbert is the easily better quarterback. Start a fan, like do the Madden Fantasy League and tell me who's going to get drafted first.
Yeah, it's Justin Herbert. Yeah,
it's Justin Herbert.
It's
No,
interesting.
I completely agree, but I
interesting
just wanted to
also
I
like
wanted to throw my
you could-
shot in there.
like Baker
That's fine.
infinitely had better defenses while he was a quarterback of the Cleveland Browns,
Very
but
true.
also you could say that Justin Herbert infinitely had better weapons on offense in terms of wide receivers than Baker ever had in Cleveland. So
I don't know. Odell's looking pretty good.
yeah, okay. So I'm not going to take a 30. Just stop. I just think Baker deserves a little bit of credit for what he's been able to do at this point.
That I will say is fair.
And I think Baker again has solidified himself as somebody that will probably bounce around the league until he's done. But he'll continue to appear up on Sundays, and we'll
Rich
watch
man's
Baker.
Gardner Minshew.
I would say
I'm telling
Rich
you- I'm
man's
telling you
Ryan
right now,
Fitzpatrick.
Pittsburgh Steelers would
I'd
take
say-
Baker Mayfield in an absolute fucking
They would.
heartbeat.
They would. They absolutely would. They absolutely would. Minnesota also a good landing spot for Baker, but I'm
Ooh, like that.
just I think he deserves a little bit of credit here.
That being said,
let's talk about Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah, we have time.
This
chat, just letting you know, we are 2 hours in, and this podcast is going to be 5 hours at this point. So we're now talking about Jordan.
just based on, I feel like Dashboard Confessional at this point, I've just been
False!
vindicated. And
Scared me.
yeah, that was terrifying.
I just wanted to-
He looked like shit against a bad team on Monday Night Football, and it's not the first time that we've seen Jordan Love look bad against a bad team. He looked like shit against the Raiders as well. This is a guy that went 2-5 in the red zone. One of those touchdowns being the result of a freak Saquon Barkley fumble returned 40 fucking yards to set them up for, hey, he executed. He got a touchdown. It was a good, little 2-minute drive there, but Tommy Cutlets let it down for a field goal to win the game. Probably should have never even had that opportunity, to be honest with you. Probably should have gone 1-4 in the red zone that night. But the Giants are one of the worst red zone defenses in all of football, and they didn't execute. So a couple of things that I derived from watching Jordan Love. Jordan Love might be Baker Mayfield. He might be Andy Dalton, Cap. Like that's like the ceiling for Jordan Love, in my opinion, at this point. And the thing that I'm basing that off of is Jordan Love is really good at executing on his first read. That is where you see this offense produce air throws that are over 7 yards, is when they are the first read. When anytime Jordan Love has to move beyond that, he's holding the ball too long, which is why you saw the Giants exploit a terrible offensive line that the Packers have, which is why you see those choppy feet, which is kind of what you get when Baker's in the pocket doing this shit all the fucking time. You saw that out of Jordan Love as well. And at this point, I'm just committed to watching Jordan Love football for the rest of the year, which is fucking awful, but I'm going to do it. Because I've planted the flag here. I gotta ride it out. I earned this spot. I'm taking the Bucks, man. I think they're just more consistent. They're more consistent at this point in terms of what I'm going to get. I've seen the Bucks be bad, but like I've seen the Packers offense just look ridiculous. Like Matt LaFleur takes credit for this shit too. Like, oh, we're having trouble blocking the Giants' defensive line. Let's run plays that take 10 seconds to develop. Like, what the fuck are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. So I think it's just a combination of a couple of things right here. And maybe in a different system, Jordan Love could be more productive. But I'm going to bet on the more sure thing at this point. And unfortunately for the Packers, that's the Buccaneers. Give me the Bucks.
All right, fair enough. Todd, Buccaneers on the road in Green Bay. Who you got?
Taking the Bucks.
All right, Aaron.
Yeah, it's interesting. Looking at this week's matchups, this was the matchup I thought was the funniest because it's Corey's been on Baker's resurgence, and I've somehow fallen into the Jordan Love camp. So I will.
Do you want to address Bez's comment, Aaron, while you have the floor?
Jordan Love didn't even look awful last week. Wait. I said the O would feed into his nonsense again. So listen, I'm gonna reclaim my time for next week after this game, and I'm gonna take the Packers.
1 touchdown, 2 turnovers.
We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
Man, this is a tough one. Boys.
Also, where the fuck is Aaron Jones?
Hurt?
Yeah, like perpetually.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna practice twice this week, and then you're not gonna show up when I fucking started you in the flex. You piece of
Dude, no one gives a
shit,
shit about your
dude.
fantasy team at
I
all.
So Aaron, you have the Packers. That is correct.
Correct.
Yikes.
It's gonna be a fun one for me and you, buddy.
I'm gonna FaceTime you when it's the Hail Mary play.
Just Zoom call
You know-
each other the whole game.
Todd and I are tied, and I think for the most part we are in cahoots this week. Outside of one game, I think this is a game that I will lean the other way, and ride with Aaron on. I'm gonna take the Packers this week. I'm gonna ride with Jordan Love. I'm gonna believe in what Mr. Jordan Love stands for, which is W's.
Does he?
I wish the weather report was worse in Green Bay.
Yeah,
It's
as you
like
see,
40.
this face is not very convincing, but that's just where I'm at this point. So,
I got it.
yeah, that's where I'm at. We've got me and Aaron riding with the Packers, and Corey and Todd rolling with the Bucks, along with the rest of chat. So that's where we're at. Don't
This was
argue
gonna
with
light
it,
the group
and
chat up.
we'll move on to the next game, which I think we will all be in consensus with.
Baker Mayfield, 37-45 as a starter. Jordan Love, 9-14.
What's the starts comparison?
37-45 for Baker Mayfield.
So the real stat I want is
9-14.
what is Zach
No, just
Wilson
how
with
many
the
starts.
Jets versus Tua Tagovailoa with the Miami Dolphins? Because that's the next game.
Scary part is where's Tyreek Hill, and we were just talking about like where we were talking about him last week, like this guy
Yeah,
should be the
so
MVP, and then he goes.
Everybody who is a
Alex
fantasy
Sports
owner of
jinx.
Mr. Tyreek Hill, thank God for Tyreek Hill's wife, who told him
Yeah.
not to be a little bitch and get back out on the
Massive
fucking
fake
Yeah,
Sure,
exacerbate that ankle injury. Smart. Fucking idiot.
So we got the New York Jets on the road in Miami taking on the Dolphins. I am a Tyreek Hill owner in multiple leagues.
No one cares
Thank God
about
for that
that
bye
either.
week. Thank you for that bye week, baby.
One of which I am in the fantasy playoffs in. Actually, the only thing I'm in the playoffs in is because of Tyreek Hill.
Real quick sidebar. To talk fantasy, great in a vacuum. Your personal team, no one gives a fuck
At all.
Yo, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Nobody gives a fuck about my team.
That's not you. I'm sorry, but in general, it's the same
I
thing.
talked about my team too, Bobby.
and I said
No, but you're right. You're absolutely right. Nobody gives a fuck about my team, but it's the first time I've been in the playoffs in like 5 years in any league, and I'm
Damn,
just
dude.
ecstatic.
Tez
had the
with a
worst
comment.
luck.
Hold on. Tez with a comment. He says, fact check. Love was 22 with 39, 1 TD, 1 interception. Not
Dude,
too
solid
Corey
Tez
with a
impression.
lower KC. Also, Tez, I didn't say 2 interceptions. I said 2 turnovers. Love had a
You
fumble.
guys don't
lost.
understand that Tez is like 6'4". Like
I'm 6'5".
Oh, I'm making fun of
African-American
Corey and not Tez.
like probably like
I'm-
270.
All right,
too.
cool.
What was the
Tez,
start comparison, by the way?
I said
not
2
the
turnovers.
You
not
started talking like you were
interceptions.
like comic book boy.
No,
Hey,
he's coming.
I'm
He's coming
Tez
here
Goodwin.
like he's fucking Mr. Stat analyst and coming over here and giving me this shit. I didn't say interceptions, Tez. Thank you for protecting and servicing the greater citizens of St. Louis, Tez. We appreciate you,
Hey, you know what? He probably protected Todd and I when we were there because we took a turn down. Todd and
Dude,
I
it's
took a
a
turn down a wrong street, and it is
There's
sketch
dude,
as
some scary
fuck.
fucking spots in the Lou, no doubt. Tez,
It
you are
is,
not.
it is
you are not a pussy
It is not
at
a
all.
comfortable spot to be in. If you have a light
not.
complexion, we'll just put. It
I
that way.
took for Tez. You owe me an indecent exposure ticket. I literally pissed through the gate at Busch Stadium onto the parking lot when I was drunk there because fuck the Cardinals. That's
well,
why.
yeah, fuck the Cardinals, and we love you. So we just pissed on St. Louis. Anyways,
Yeah.
Look the stat up myself. The stat comparison from
Yeah, it
Baker
wasn't happening.
82 to 14.
Wasn't happening from this guy.
all right. Next game on the slate, we got the New York Jets taking things on the road to Miami. Mr. Todd Gottschall. Jets on the road, Miami. Who you got?
Not taking a lot of time, taking the Dolphins.
All right.
Yeah, I'm right there with him.
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything important to say about this game?
Would love to see him lose just because fuck him.
All right, fair enough. Aaron?
Dolphins all day.
Chat, do we have any other wavering opinions other than the Dolphins and shitting on the Jets?
Nope. I think we're good.
Are we all in consensus on this?
I think we are.
I'm just
Yeah, I
gonna-
think we've confirmed consensus.
Can we confirm it for the fourth time? Let's confirm
I'm
it one
I'm
more
just
time
gonna-
for Bobby.
I'm just
As
gonna-
he stalls to put
I'm
this
just- I'm
fucking
just gonna
shit into
copy-
the Excel sheet.
I'm just gonna copy paste into the Excel sheet. And we're gonna move on. So,
All right.
next game on the slate, we've got the Houston Texans coming off some big injuries. Mr. CJ Stroud is questionable. Taking on the Tennessee Titans, coming off of an unimaginable win on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
So we got Texans on the road in Tennessee. Corey James, who do you have?
Is CJ Stroud playing?
No.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Titans at this point. Like, he is the X factor for me in terms of what the Texans have been able to produce. And that's not to say that, like, D'Amico Ryans doesn't deserve. Did I say D'Amico? Is that his name? I'm sorry.
Yes, you said it correctly.
D'Amico Ryans. It's not to say that he deserves no credit for their success because he absolutely does. I talked about that earlier. Like, Zach Taylor gets a lot of the shit when the Bengals fail, but none of the credit. Like, that all usually goes to Joe Burrow. Like, he deserves some of the credit for their success as well. However, like, I think like what Will Levis, the development that we've seen over the last like 8 weeks out of Will Levis in terms of holding on to the ball too long, not processing the field quickly enough. What we're seeing right now is a guy that is just like going out and slinging the football, and he's winning. He did what he had to do and beat a team he had no business in beating. The Titans have no business in beating the Dolphins on Monday night, but they did it.
It did not. Absolutely not.
They didn't, and it was sloppy. It was an ugly win, but
It
they
was a
won.
gross game.
And it's hard for me to bet on the Texans right now without CJ Stroud, so I'm not going to. Give me the Titans.
I agree. Aaron.
Yeah, I kind of sneakily like Will Levis. Like he's just kind of snuck
How
in.
can you not though? Like the
I
Because of
mean,
the
we
mayonnaise,
talked about him
mostly.
because he went in the second round, right?
Yeah, second round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was talked about as maybe being the first overall pick in draft talk, and I think there's a reason.
he does cream
wasn't-
cheese in his coffee, right?
Even
No,
in
it's
that
mayonnaise.
blood.
It's mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
Even worse. Which I
Even
don't know
worse,
how
but
it's worse,
mayonnaise-
but it is.
Mayonnaise is good on a lot of shit, guys. I'm just gonna throw that
But
out.
coffee.
Not coffee. Not coffee.
All right, here. Let me ask you this. All right, if Will Levis
Let's sidebar mayonnaise.
ends with a winning record this season, are we all willing to drink a cup of coffee with a dollop of mayonnaise in it?
No.
Double biceps up. I'm doing it, baby. Let's go.
I'll do it with you.
If Todd's, I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in.
If
I'll try
Todd's
it.
in, I'm in.
Am I going to get peer pressured into drinking coffee
Yes,
with
you are.
mayonnaise
Yes,
in
you
it?
are. Don't be a
Yeah.
Well,
bitch, Bobby.
listen,
Wait,
you don't.
winning
you don't-
record?
A winning record.
Listen,
Does
Bobby,
that
you
for
don't-
go if I finish in last?
Listen, you don't
No,
have
you're
to
doing it.
unless you're a massive pussy, right? but you don't have to. But you don't have to. But you are a massive pussy if you don't. So, but you don't have to.
So you don't have
No.
to.
So what you're
Listen.
saying is if I,
So, all right,
unless I
fine,
have
2
a
cups of
gaping
mayonnaise.
vagina.
You are what you eat, Bob.
So
I mean, I am more than proud of being that exactly.
A guy that puts mayonnaise in his coffee.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's move on from that.
let's so we're gonna assume obviously. So they've officially ruled Stroud out.
Correct.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
well, no,
I'm gonna go with Tennessee.
Yeah. So he is out. He did not.
Which
I
is
like
also
Levis,
good
man. He's
for
nice.
all of
He's-
our rooting interests,
I
by the way.
like
Titans winning is good for us.
Yeah.
I like Levis next year. I'm more I want to see what that looks like. He's putting some good film together.
All right. So Todd has the Titans. Aaron has the Titans. Corey has the Titans. I am also taking the Titans. Without CJ Stroud, the Texans are basically pointless.
I didn't pick, but I'll take the Titans. That's cool. I'll get it. I'll get it.
I thought you had them, buddy. I'm sorry.
I did not say. All I said was I'll drink a cup of coffee with mayonnaise, and that we'll love.
So basically, you took the Titans without saying you took the Titans. It's
I
fine.
don't think the two are simpatico.
Bobby just heard you call him a pussy, and he's like, "Wow, he's gonna."
Listen, whoa! I did not call him a pussy. I said
you basically called me a pussy.
No, I didn't.
Knowing that Bobby's going to back out of this bet.
It's the implication.
You know that my testicles are larger than.
Nope.
Bet
I don't know anything
Nope,
about
just stop it. Yep. Wrong path.
Let's get Bobby to the finish line.
Yep. Cold snaps are kicking in.
They are indeed. We have the 49ers on the road in Arizona.
You're gay.
You're gay. Aaron, you're gay. Al-Baghdadi.
That's a stand-up reference.
Yeah, it's a stand-up reference, and there's no way homophobic.
Just cut it off at 2 hours, Aaron. Cut it off at 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm taking the 49ers over the Cardinals hard. Take it away.
Yeah, we don't bet on the Cardinals. I think we all agree with that, right?
After Thanksgiving, right, Aaron?
I'm going to take 8 minutes to explain why the 49ers are going to win this game.
You better not.
You fucking better not.
Niners.
Yep.
All right, so we all got the Niners. We all got the Titans.
Debo's looking pretty good, guys.
Is he? All right, do we want Brock Purdy MVP?
All right.
No.
Oh, Ariel, thank you for rolling through. Tennessee 49ers, easy pick. Absolutely. Josh, 100%. Pops, thanks for rolling through. Everybody who's rolled through and made picks, you guys keep this show going every week, and we appreciate you guys.
Love you
every single time you guys come through and drop a comment. Appreciate everything. We've got 5 picks left. We're already 11 minutes over the time that we typically spend. So,
who cares?
Nobody gives a shit at this point. We're just going to keep
almost
rolling.
Christmas, dude. It's like free time.
Yeah.
Nobody's working. Aaron's not. Aaron's definitely not.
So I'll go ahead and lead this one off. We've got the Commanders taking things on the road out to LA to take on Mr. Juan L. Goodwin's Los Angeles Rams. I got the Rams, boys.
Yeah,
I got the Rams hard.
No, I'm right. The Rams are hard. I think Tez put it like, dude, they almost beat the Ravens last week. Like Tez put it perfectly.
They played them well.
He's like, we're in playoff mode. Like we have to win playoff games. Like this is like we are in the playoff games at this point, and they have to win out in order to squeak into a wild card. They're just a better coached, better rostered unit in Los Angeles. So Sam Howell going into Rams house, hosting the 2027 Super Bowl, by the way. The COO of the Rams said maybe if our GM and head coach stop trading away picks, we might be able to put a Super Bowl run together for 2027. But all of that aside, I'm taking the Rams.
That really happened?
It happened today.
Todd.
I'm taking the Rams. They're playing hot. Give me that Puka.
They played good against the Ravens. Went to overtime. It was a punt return touchdown.
They beat the Browns the week prior in a close game.
Yeah, playing good football.
Mr. Mailing.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think Matt Stafford is actually playing a great brand of football right now. And to go completely holistic, if you are playing in the fantasy playoffs and you need a quarterback, you can do a lot worse than Matt Stafford.
Yeah, good point.
He is playing really, really good football.
Good
right
matchup.
Now.
Good matchup.
Yes,
and
good matchup.
I like what the Rams are doing right now, and of course, nobody is really enjoying what it's like the exact opposite of what we're seeing with the Bears from a defensive standpoint since the Sweat trade. Bears defense looks really good. No. Guess what? You get a really good player, you lose a really good player. And of course, with the Chase Young trade, I mean, I got the Rams all day.
All right, fair enough. Now the Bills coming off a controversial win last week against the Chiefs.
Who's offsides?
I think everybody, not only on the panel but in the chat, can agree that Kadarius Toney, not only one of the worst receivers of all time, but he was offside.
Well, I think you're a little egregious in the first part.
No, I mean, but really, the Chiefs could have 2 more wins just not having Kadarius Toney.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like
I'm Bobby. I'm with you, actually.
That's where I'm at. It's like it's not that he's a shitty receiver. It's that
No, it is.
he's
It
kind
is
of a shitty receiver.
Just maybe lacks the clutch. Maybe he doesn't have the clutch fat. I don't know, but
It's not the clutch factor. It's the fact that the man is like, you know what? I see the ball. I'm gonna go stand over here with the edge rusher and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah, but this is also the same guy that returned a punt in the AFC Championship that got him into scoring position. Against
I
the
have
Bengals.
never seen a non-quarterback single-handedly lose a team 2 games.
That's
Yeah.
fair. All right, I hear you. I hear that part.
Like he's been so bad for this team the whole season. He's
That's-
dropping passes in weeks 1 through 5. He's losing games for him weeks 6 through 10. Like, how could you continue to stand up for this man? I can't.
It's he has the like the game show Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? It's like his football IQ is that of a first grader.
It's real bad. But
So go ahead. What do we got?
no, so yeah, we've got the Commanders on the road in Buffalo. So this doesn't even have anything to do with the Chiefs, but it had everything to do with them last week. So taking the Bills at home, boys. Against the Commanders.
Nope, Cowboys.
Cowboys. You're
You're mixing up 2 games.
Bills.
Sorry, I'm hammered. Yeah. Cowboys are on the road. It was the Commanders at the Rams, excuse me.
It's the Cowboys. Cowboys
on
are
the
good
road in Buffalo.
in a surprise upset.
This is
Bobby has
actually
the Commanders in this game.
this is actually a tough game.
No, it's not.
Cowboys
Sure.
on the road
We
in
got-
Buffalo. I think this is a tough game.
I do
things
too.
Considered, inebriation and all. I think this is a tough game.
I think can I just go ahead and jump in here and say that the Cowboys demonstrated that they are clearly one of the best teams in the NFL right now. Unfortunately, like for all of us, like we don't like the Cowboys to be successful. We just have to go ahead and admit that Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in the league right now, at least the way he's playing. There's not a quarterback playing better football than Dak Prescott. It's just it's statistically a fact.
What
at this
about
point.
Brock Purdy?
Not happening. Not happening. Dak Prescott is playing better football than anyone. And it's crazy to say that. It's crazy to say that, but it's also true.
Brock Purdy.
And I don't like I don't like to do like the Chiefs beat the Bills beat the Chiefs, and they beat the shit out of the Dolphins. So like the Bills are a good team too. I think the Bills are still who we thought the Bills were. I honestly think that the Chiefs are not as strong as they were. I think that's kind of across the board for the AFC. I think the AFC is pretty wide open. I think at this point, if gun to my head, I have to pick where is the Super Bowl champion going to come out, it's going to be the NFC. The best teams in the NFL are in the NFC right now, and I think there's 3 of them. It's the Cowboys, it's the Eagles, and it's the 49ers. I think all 3 of those teams are better than the best that the AFC has to offer. And I think the Cowboys are right up there with all of those teams. Give me the Cowboys.
Aaron.
Yeah, every time I think I have the NFL figured out, it just doesn't go that way. And Corey, I'm with you. I think the Bills are who we thought they were, but I also don't think we thought they were this bad.
Did we let them off the
and
hook?
now and that was part of the reason I took the Bills last week against the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Bills this week, and it's solely for fading myself in what I kind of anchored myself to at the beginning of the year. I didn't think the Cowboys were going to be this good. I didn't think the Bills were going to be this bad. I was a lock with the Bills on the under, and I still think we're going to get there.
10 wins is the under. Yeah,
I
10
still
and a
think
half
the
was
Bills.
line.
Yeah, but I also, if I look at the AFC, I think the Bills like you know how we were talking about the selection committee for the NCAA playoffs, right? You leave Florida State out. If we were to do that for the NFL, you'd have to put the Bills in.
Yeah.
Like, because you look at all these quarterbacks that are injured, and I'm like, I want to watch the Bills play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think there's going to be a world and a way in which they win this game.
I think they win the division, to be honest with you.
I hope not. But yeah. That's gambling. But again, no one cares about that.
Todd.
Yeah, I'm following Corey's lead here. I'm taking the Cowboys. They're playing too well, and I think that the emotion ran so high to beat Kansas City after this is your 4 years, or this is the first win in 4 years after playing them 5 times, right? Something along those lines. I think that was kind of a blow your wad game for Buffalo, and Dallas is Dallas very similar.
Could you not say that for the Cowboys though too? Against the
Eagles?
That's where
sorry, Todd. I didn't.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's where I'm getting to is that, Dallas just is coming off of. That was an ass whooping that they handed Philadelphia. But we haven't watched Dak Prescott make really a lot of mistakes since the Giants lost. Since they've lost that game, he's like buttoned up and played very good football. And I can't hedge my bets against him until he has a bad game. I can't. When you're moving the ball up and down the field in 5 minutes and
not in December, maybe in January.
Yeah. Mid-January, I'll talk it a little bit different. But right now, in the regular season, I'm taking Dak Prescott.
This has got to be the game I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
I hear every side, and I'm with you guys.
Josh and Pops need your picks for the Texans on the road in Tennessee and the 49ers on the road in Arizona. Yikes. So, Todd, you got this last one. It was the Bills over the Cowboys.
I took the Cowboys.
You took the Cowboys.
We're going to audit this week for sure.
Sorry, boys. I'm a little drunk. I apologize.
Corey,
who do you have?
Bobby, we love you.
I got the Cowboys too.
I love that we just went through a whole rant and
Bobby just wasn't there. He just his fucking aux cord was not plugged into his computer at all.
I'm sorry, guys. I just want to make sure that we have all this right. Aaron, who do you have?
Just looking at
I have the Bills.
He's on Instagram.
Aaron has the Bills. Okay, so Corey and Todd have the Cowboys. Aaron has the Bills. I'm gonna go ahead and ride with the Cowboys this week. Let Aaron Lone Wolf this. As I type this extremely slow, and just kind of move on to next week because I'm just at that point in my life.
You're pretty.
Thanks.
You got that going for you.
All right, boys. We've got 3 games left. We're about 2 hours and 22 minutes in.
Let's go.
There's really no time limit on this at this point. So
just take it to the morning.
Let's just go ahead and ride what's happening to the end and just kind of deal with it from there. So we've got the
Oh my god, this is gold. This is gold.
My
All
favorite,
right,
favorite and least favorite episode we've ever done.
Yeah, what's the next fucking game?
So there's 3 left. We've got the Baltimore Ravens taking things on the road to Jacksonville.
Oh, good game. Sunday Night Football, right?
Should be a good game. Sunday Night Football, 8:20 p.m. Todd, who you got?
Boys, I think we're due for a Lamar Jackson oopsie loopsie game. A little turnover game for Lamar. He hasn't turned the ball over a lot in the last few weeks, and I think we're due for one. And Duval's going to be rocking, so I'm taking the Jags.
Ooh,
wow.
Yeah.
Tez popping in saying that we should do an all-night stream.
Nope.
We're gonna have to plan that at some point.
Midnight Madness?
That's actually gonna happen.
I'll do a Midnight Madness, but I can't do an all night stream. Your boy needs beauty sleep.
You can give me until at least 2 a.m. and then
guy gets
I'm checking out.
contacts.
Yeah, I gotta go take my fucking contacts out if we're doing an all night stream, boys. These eyes will get bone dry.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. I'm in a bit of a quandary in this game because the Ravens played to lose last week against the Rams. They didn't play good football. They played to lose that game for sure. Trevor Lawrence looked terrible last week. 3 interceptions. Didn't look like Trevor Lawrence. Has anyone seen an injury report out of Jacksonville lately? Limited in practice for Trevor. Limited in practice.
If he played last week,
Well, I know he's playing, but my concern is like, are we getting like early season Joe Burrow?
Can I be honest with you?
That's exactly
being
how
there
they're
at
treating
the
him
game,
right
if I didn't look at injury reports, if I didn't know he had a high ankle sprain, if I didn't see the Monday night game prior to that, there's nothing in that game that made me think Trevor Lawrence wasn't Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
He was rolling out. He was like, I was shocked.
I'm taking the Ravens. I don't think he's healthy all the way. I don't. I believe it's his right ankle, which would be his plant foot, which is where you drive your power. And the Ravens defense is really good at stopping the run. And if they can shut down Travis Etienne and make this about Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball, the Ravens, God, I hope I'm wrong. But I'm going to go with the Ravens here.
I'm trying to speak it into existence.
I hope you're right. And Todd, you're definitely right about, I was there in Jacksonville. That crowd rocks. They get after it. Great fans in Jacksonville, receptive fans. As I left, I said, don't be as nice to the Ravens fans as you were to me when they come in here. Get after them. So I really hope Jacksonville wins, but based on the fact that I don't think Trevor Lawrence is 100%, give me the Ravens.
Smart.
Aaron.
Yeah, the AFC has just had a weird tendency of playing to the middle. Todd, I'm with you, man. I'm taking the Jaguars here, and part of the reason, and Corey,
Right.
What I just mentioned was being in the stadium during that game, watching Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, he threw some picks, but like
he threw 3.
Yeah, no, I know. I watched all of them. I got really jacked up about it. There were a lot there were at least 2 of them that seemed to be, where's Christian Kirk? Like plays where he expects that receiver to be where they're supposed to be.
Didn't he fuck his groin up?
Yeah, he's out for the season, boys.
Yeah. No, he's at least out until the playoffs. I think he's on IR, so that's 4. Yeah,
He wasn't against. He didn't play against the Browns, did he?
I thought honestly no, he didn't. No, Kirk was out. Yeah, but I was
at the beginning of the Bengals game.
Going into that, even like knowing I got tickets on Saturday, going to the game on Sunday, I was like, yeah, well, Lawrence isn't going to play. Let's go. Let's fucking have a good time. Flacco. And then like walking to the stadium 90 minutes in, and they're like, Denzel Ward's not playing. Trevor Lawrence is. I'm like, what? It's 40 degrees out. What are we doing out here?
What are we doing?
No, but I really do believe in the fact that the AFC, like the second I think I have a gauge, I don't.
Yeah.
And like this is a game that it feels like a game that the Ravens are going to lose because
I hope so.
They don't need to win it, and the Jaguars do need to.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the Jags.
Speak it to existence. Baby.
Manifest that shit.
All right, we got 2 games left, boys.
Who you taking, Bob?
I got the Ravens.
All right, me and you, baby. Me and the drunk guy in the chat.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm taking the Ravens.
The drunkest.
Me and I'm not 2 of the statistically worst people at picking, the chat and Bobby. All right, let's go.
Wow. Just
suck it, chat. We love you, though.
Josh,
I love you guys. Thanks you for being here.
Right in your face.
I love you guys.
All right, we got 2 games left.
Do we have 2?
We have 2 games left.
I'm not going to do that again. I believe you.
Okay.
Are there 2 Monday nights?
Actually left. No, it's actually For some reason, they switched the schedule around because I did all of
They
these.
did it.
Well, so I had done all of the spreadsheet like 5 weeks ago, and they switched all the games.
Oh, it's
around.
flex. It's flex season.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is
okay,
flex
okay.
season.
So that's
Flex
why, because
season,
I'm looking
so-
at there's a Monday night. Okay.
So there's
Who did
two
we
games.
miss?
So technically, there's 2 games left. I missed the 1 o'clock game, and then there's the Monday night game. So I'm gonna double back to the 1 o'clock game, and then we'll hit the Monday
I'm
night.
gonna have another beer.
You
Yeah,
should.
for sure.
Should have earned it.
So
You're an
the
American.
1 o'clock game
Oh, this
that I
is
missed
America.
is a game that we will spend literally 7.3 seconds on.
I doubt it.
Yeah, not possible.
That is the Kansas City Chiefs on the road in New England, taking on the Patriots.
Let's talk about what Patrick Mahomes did last week.
We already talked about it. I've got the Chiefs. We've all had the Chiefs. Does anybody have anything important to say about this game?
What's the spread?
6.5.
I'm not touching it.
The-
Not touching it.
The best part about this is we already talked about Mahomes and we already talked about Belichick. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs too, but I'm not touching that spread.
Oh, 7.5. Sorry.
Yeah, no fucking way.
I
Yeah.
love it at 6.5. Hate it at 7.5.
I almost like Patriots plus 7.5, dude. I almost do.
Zappy sucks.
He does, and that Patriots defense that Chiefs defense is really good. Chris Jones is going to eat them alive.
That has to be over 7.5 seconds.
Like Patrick Mahomes. Like we were talking about, Patrick Mahomes can't lose 2 in a row. He definitely won't lose 3 in a row. Won't happen.
Dude, that was almost a Baltimore accent you just had there.
Dude, so like Joe Flacco.
Yeah, that's it. That's a little
He just-
DMV
I
accent.
don't know what it is, but I just trust him more. You know.
It's a good Star
Dude,
Wars
same.
reference there. I like it.
Yeah. Dude, it's such a good statement.
So that was the 1 o'clock game. The Monday night matchup.
Does
is
Travis
going to
Kelce
be-
retire after this year?
Yes.
He should, dude. He'd be
He
a billionaire.
should. Will he?
Stay at home dad for the Swift babies.
Fuck
Yeah,
dude.
absolutely.
Sign me up. I love you, Katie, but sign me up. You know what I'm saying?
Could you imagine bringing $100 million to the table in like assets, and then someone's like, "That's
Thanks.
That's 10% of my earnings, bitch.
That's
That
jump
is
change,
cute.
motherfucker.
That's
Could you
cute.
imagine just putting a baby in me and just being like, you know what, you are
She
worth
w- if
more
she
at
wants-
home than you are.
Bobby." I'm going to be
in your
honest. I
career?
cannot imagine putting a baby in.
I wouldn't. If she wants a
I didn't mean
fucking
me, sir.
Fijian beachside home villa, she just has to like re-release her movie for 4 days. Like that's all. She has
Do
to-
you remember the old Chappelle sketch where he like impregnated Oprah? He's like,
Yes.
"Oh."
Dude.
Solid reference. Solid
So,
reference.
Travis and Jason retire at the end of the season. They go into the podcasting world. I can
Yeah.
see it happening.
It's
for
a
sure.
whole new. It's a
Take
whole new
on two
football.
Bears,
media for
one
them.
cave, and it's just
Lauren Michael and
Beautiful
invite him
thing.
back every year. He's good. He's set.
All right, last game of the week, and then we can let the chat get on with their lives.
Love you guys. Thank you so much.
We have the Philadelphia Eagles taking things on the road against the best coach in the NFL in Pete Carroll.
Bobby, lead us off.
And the Seattle Seahawks. I've got the Philadelphia Eagles rebounding after a losing streak. Give me the Eagles here, hard plus 14.
He still wants that push though.
Nah, no, I don't want any push. Give me the Eagles. Give me
Spread
the
is
Eagles.
minus
Give
14.
me the Eagles. Give me the Eagles plus 14 points.
You mean minus 14?
whatever?
No,
Whatever has them
Eating the
winning by
juice.
14 points.
Yeah.
Give me the juice. Even the juice. I don't care.
Give me the Eagles, plus
Eagles aren't
14
going to compete.
minus
I'm sorry, the Seahawks aren't going to
16,000.
compete. I don't care. Fuck Pete Carroll. He's a piece of shit. Give me the Eagles by a lot.
I'm there. Give me the Eagles by a lot, baby.
I mean I'm there too. Like, yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles. Yeah, yes.
Corey, what do
Eagles
you
are
got?
still good.
I just got a wild hair at my ass, guys.
Do it. Do it.
Go for it. Do it. Do it.
This gives you a 2-game lead if you're right.
Something's going on in Philadelphia that's not good.
Delco's burning.
They've been a super rich man's Vikings though this year. If you really look at it,
They have.
Like-
they have.
like they are losing spreads.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
I want
I'm
you
gonna
to do it though.
I know, but I'm gonna take the Eagles. But like, what's the spread? Tell me what the spread is.
4.
I'm
14.
disappointed in you, Corey.
Apparently.
4.
No, it is. It's
4.
Oh, that's not. Yeah, 4. Yeah, it's not.
I'd buy some. I'd buy.
That's a
Some
good
points.
tease. Take that up to a touchdown.
Take it up to 6.5, and I like it.
Well, above a touch. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. But yeah, give me the Eagles. Just
right,
poured
boys.
this beer.
In the most roundabout way humanly possible. That's podcast.
We were in a cul-de-sac all night.
I just wanted to make sure
Fuck
Corey
yeah.
had an opportunity to finish that beer before I
Thank you.
continued.
That was
You're
solid.
welcome.
I am
did
American.
very
I had
nice.
so
So
much fun
can
tonight,
you.
guys. I don't care.
Yeah. It was a hoot. I had a good time, y'all.
Am I gonna get a
was
little
hoot.
less
This was
sleep?
a real good time, eh?
Oof.
But no, chat. Thanks for everybody swinging through. Josh, Tez, Pops, Alex, everybody who popped in. Thanks for swinging your picks through. We will be back next week for week 16 of our NFL
So
Pick'em.
sad.
This obviously is extremely tight
Ooh,
between the panel, and
Guess
it's only going to get tighter.
nice.
Quotation.
Guess what? I will be at Ford Field December 26th for the Quick Lane Bowl,
15 days.
where Minnesota Gophers take on the Bowling Green State University.
And get shellacked.
PJ Fleck, you're gonna find out how to fucking row the boat, baby. You're gonna fucking find out. Aaron, go ahead and get it for him, baby. Go ahead and bring it. Go ahead and show him what you got.
Connor Basilak's coming back for year 13. You guys are in good. You guys are in good hands.
What'd you
That's
turn?
me pointing at the BGSU flag. on the
Oh
wall.
yeah, we can't see it from here, but thank you for doing that. We're gonna show PJ Fleck how to row the boat. Bowling Green plus 3.5. Take that all day. Gonna happen. Second Power 5 win this year. Let's go.
All right, chat. We love you. We will see you guys next week. If you're lucky, we might see you guys sooner than that for a little bit more additional content in regards to the baseball realm.
Hangovers
Which
were
we-
off by 4.
Yeah,
Bobby will be
Yeah,
good by then.
I'm kind of drunk. Just forget about it.
No,
We'll
you're
see you
not.
guys.
Just pretty.
I love you so much.
You're so good. Thank God you're pretty. Thank God.
All right, we love you guys. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace and love.
Bye.
Peace.